This is just JW culture.
Yes.
It wasn't just my parents that I was going to be in trouble with. It was then the elders.
Yeah.
And then the congregation. Have to rat on my friends. Mm-hmm. Of course, Jehovah. Anyone that tells you Jehovah's Witnesses shunning policy is not harmful, you can go F yourself. I still was never like the uber spiritual JW. I got real close to becoming a ministerial servant, but I never like pushed to that next level.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here for another episode of Alissa Talking with Lance. I'm just kidding. We've never done this before. I finally convinced him to sit down with me and tell me his side of the story. So I shared my side, which was like over an hour long, but it's time for him to share his side of everything that happened and went down. For those that don't know, today, Saturday, whatever day, 26th? I don't know what day it is. Anyways, the 26th, July 26th, is our official day that we were announced as no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. So it is our disassociation anniversary. And I thought, what better time to make him sit down and talk with me. So we're going to talk. We're going to chat. We're going to let him kind of tell his side of things. And yeah, I don't know how long this is going to be. I don't know what this is going to turn out like, but I think it's time for him to share his side. And he's ready. For those that said, don't force him to do this.
There were people that said that?
Someone did say, they're like, it's a very personal thing if he's not ready to share.
Whoever said that? They're holding space for me.
I did not force him. Just kidding. Okay, so.
I am nervous.
He is nervous. He gets more nervous with this stuff than I do. So
I feel like I'm giving a talk, or about to give a talk.
So bear with him. Well, I'll get him into it more. So to start off, if you are just joining my channel, welcome. I'm Alissa. This is my husband, Lance. We have been married 18 years, and we were born and raised Jehovah's Witnesses. We left exactly 2 years ago today with our little family, me and him, and we have two small kids who were just babies, basically, when we left. So,
yep.
Lance, I'm going to interview you, okay? Like I've been interviewing others. Okay, so Lance, tell me a little bit about your history with Jehovah's Witnesses. You were born and raised in it, correct? Mm-hmm. And your mom's family was in it.
Yeah, so I was born into the religion just like Alissa was, raised in it from birth. All my family on my mom's side, except for a few members, are, very, very devout Jehovah's Witnesses. So I grew up in a, very strong, spiritually strong family with a spiritually strong heritage. I don't know exactly how far back my
at least
lineage goes, because I know my grandmother
was in it.
I don't know about my great-grandparents.
Yeah.
But I know my grandmother and grandfather were on my mom's side were in it, up until the day they passed. All my aunts, not all my aunts, but basically 90% of my family, and all very super uber Jehovah's Witnesses. We're talking elders, ministerial servants, parts on the conventions, giving the baptism talks, just top tier witnesses.
Yeah. So just a little backstory, like his mom is one of five. She has like two brothers who were in it, and then she had a sister who left when she was, I think, pretty young, and then a brother who left, and he's recently come back as well. Mm-hmm. But like the oldest brother of all of them is kind of like the most like intense pillar of spirituality in the family.
Yep.
And he's kind of, that's trickled down then into like his kids and cousins and all of that. So,
yep. And they're all great, amazing,
they're
loving
wonderful
people.
Wonderful humans, yeah.
Outside of the fact that they shun us, I still love them with my entire heart and miss them tremendously.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me knows that, it goes, you guys, my parents, my immediate family, and then my cousins and my aunts and uncles are just like right there. And a big part of that is because I was kind of raised by my aunts and uncles. When I was born into a broken household, and we'll get into that a little bit more probably later. But my mom basically raised me by herself with the help of, all my aunts and uncles. And again, something I am forever grateful for.
He's from the South. He's from Louisiana. And I think it's a Southern thing where it's very much like aunts and uncles are kind of raising the nieces and nephews and the kids. And he was around the exact same age of, like, what is it, 4 of the boys? There was 4 boy cousins, like, back to back to back to back. So they were like brothers, almost more than cousins. So very strong family connections. Your stepdad came into your life when you were 6, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
he was not born a witness. He came into the religion probably around 18, 19, maybe early 20s, maybe, I don't know, mid 20s maybe.
He was mid 20s.
The early part of his life. But he grew up in the world and then, basically moved to Colorado. Some witnesses knocked at his door and the rest was history. So he came into our lives, and again, I don't have many memories of that time in my life just because I was so young, but the memories that I do have were all amazing. He would come into town and bring gifts, and I was just like this little kid with like these huge eyes, just like so happy. And it wasn't just because I was getting gifts. I could tell that my mom, loved him.
She was happy.
She was happy. Even in my own little brain, I could see that something was happening. Things were coming together. We were going to start a new life. My parents, or my mom and my dad, ended up getting married. And we ended up moving from Louisiana to Colorado. And again, I don't have a ton of memories from that time in my life, but I can vividly remember stepping into the U-Haul. I was just so excited, even though I was leaving some of the most important people in my lives. I remember waving goodbye to my cousins. They're all crying, but I'm just like grinning ear to ear because I don't know, I guess at that age I could just tell my mom was happy. I loved my dad, and we were about to start a whole new life together. And I had no issues with my life before that, but it was, even to my little brain, it was just like a fresh new start. So I'm giving this background so that people know how much I love my family, and I would give anything to have them back in my life. But they are not more important than the little kids that are down that hallway. Anyone that tells you Jehovah's Witnesses shunning policy is not harmful, I want to try to be calm and nice, but you can go F yourself.
There's a background of this wasn't supposed to be emotional, but it is important, like you said, to hear this side of things. Okay, so you moved from Louisiana to Colorado around 6 or 7, and this is where you've been since.
Yep.
You ended up starting your family here with your dad and your mom. He legally adopted you.
Yep.
And
again, another amazing day that we went and saw Hook. You remember that movie? They got me this cake. It had the Broncos logo on it, or it was like Broncos colors. We were in this, like 2-bedroom apartment down in Arvada. Just great memories.
Yeah. So tell me about, your life as, a kid, preteen, a teenager.
Yep.
What did that life look like here in Colorado? And kind of like what your, I guess, like the spirituality levels of your family at that time. Like,
So, the average Jehovah's Witness family, my mom was very, she wasn't strict, but being a Jehovah's Witness was the most important thing in our life at the time. I was raised, to love Jehovah. Meetings were important. Service was important. All studying was important. Just raised the same way. A lot of you people that are watching this, my parents were never like uber Jehovah's Witnesses. Like never, what I would consider like your parents to be, especially your mom. But they still 100% believed it and were trying to be faithful.
Yeah. Also in the midst Also in the midst of all this, there we go. Your mom and dad had a baby.
Yes.
Pretty soon after they got married, wasn't it? Was within like the first couple years?
I think it had to have been in the first couple of years.
So little Lance had a little brother. Mm-hmm. And like you said, your family, they fully believed it, but we're not the like uber spiritual, like my mom especially was, but believed it, faithful people. Mm-hmm. Was your dad, was he an elder? When did he become an elder?
He didn't become, he was a servant. Okay, he was a servant. He didn't become an elder till much later, like I think in my late teens.
Okay.
That's kind of foggy as well. I can't exactly remember when he became an elder.
Were they ever like pioneers and stuff when you were growing up?
No.
Okay, so that happened after we were married when they pioneered together.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So there was, growing up, it was very clear that we were Jehovah's Witness and what was important in our life, but it was never. I hear a lot of stories of people that have left, and they talk about their upbringing and how strict their parents were, and I'm thankful that mine weren't that crazy, but unfortunately I think some of their lack of spirituality kind of left the door open for me to like not take it
to be teenage Lance.
to be teenage me, and just to go like absolutely crazy. As far as my upbringing is concerned, I feel like my mom was always like waiting for my aunts to do something or to allow my cousins to do something until I got permission to do it. Okay. So, like, I wouldn't be allowed to do something, watch a certain Batman movie or watch Jurassic Park or something like that. But then, once my cousins were allowed to, then I was allowed to do it. So there was always this, like...
They were her moral compass, almost. Like
yes.
Her family was.
And it kind of makes sense because they were a pivotal role at a very pivotal point in her life. So that was always a little confusing. Well, it's like, 1 minute I can't do something and then the next minute I can.
Yeah.
And it was, it wasn't that big of a deal at the time. It didn't really matter. But looking back on it now.
I think that probably just goes to show that, like, the spiritual pillars they played in her life, even after she was gone and married and you were growing up, still had a huge influence on her. Like they were kind of probably what she looked to and strived to be like. So that's why she followed their direction and everything.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Very interesting. Okay, so how old were you when you got baptized?
I was 16.
Okay. Well, you were old.
Yeah, no, I got baptized late. I wanted to get baptized the year before that. So again, here's another. I think my parents saw examples of people in the hall being like crazy strict. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to be a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
So I remember I wanted to get baptized the year before.
Okay. Because
2 of my best friends in the hall were getting baptized. There was another girl in the hall that was getting baptized. Like, there was this little group of 14, 15, 16-year-olds that were all super tight.
Yeah.
And they were all getting baptized, and I wanted to get baptized with them. And my parents, basically told me that I wasn't ready.
Okay.
Which... in hindsight is something that a lot of JW parents don't do.
Yeah.
So I got baptized at 16. And then soon after that, it was like a slippery slope of me just going absolutely nuts.
Okay, so do you want to talk a little bit about post-baptism, Lance, in your rebellion?
Actually, no, it kind of started before then. So, I met my best friends in middle school.
Okay.
So, we'd moved to Colorado. I was here through elementary school. We moved a little bit further down south, and then I started going to this middle school, and there were two other boys in my exact same age, exact same grade, in my hall, and we all went to this middle school. And middle school is like the absolute worst in general. But having these guys in my school, we were just like the literal best of friends.
Yeah.
And then there was another kid that was 1 year older than us that was in another middle school just down the road, but shared the same Kingdom Hall.
Okay.
He just wasn't in the same congregation. So us four from about 13 were together pretty much every weekend, like during the summer and, during the school year a little bit when we could. But we were all like best friends. We were into like aggressive inline rollerblading and video games and just all that kind of stuff that that kids do. I wouldn't say we were bad.
Okay.
But we were
boys.
Okay,
yeah.
And we were feisty.
Yeah.
That's part of that skating culture was a little bit more rebellious. So, we were just like slowly growing this like...
You were letting the world...
Yeah, the world was influencing
you.
Us. So we all, just kind of gradually doing what normal kids do. Yeah. We eventually did get in trouble.
Okay.
I cannot remember if this was before or after my baptism. No, would have to have been afterward because
you got disfellowshipped, right? Or
no.
was that a different time?
That was a different time.
Okay.
I got publicly reproved.
Okay. Yeah, so you had to be baptized for that.
I believe, because they can't publicly reprove.
The only thing that happens if you're not baptized.
It's just like a marking talk, which they don't do anymore.
Yeah. Supposedly.
Supposedly. So this snowball is just building of us, becoming these wild teenagers. Jackass came out around that time. So we had like the skating culture and Jackass. And we were obsessed with that show.
Yeah.
And so we all got like it big into like video editing and filming ourselves doing these just like crazy stunts.
I wish I had that.
I do too. One day I know one of my friends has it. It's got to have it. So we, doing all these Jackass type stunts, going out in public and like making fools of ourselves. Just stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And then I think kind of the switch between doing stuff that was just like stupid to doing stuff that was like
illegal.
At the time illegal, yes. And, definitely bad in the JW's eyes. Yeah. I got a job at Best Buy and I had to have been... Yes, so all this happened before I got baptized. I got a job at Best Buy with one of my best friends, and one of our managers, the guy was probably...
Like early 20s, most likely.
Yeah. I remember, thinking back on it, we thought he was like the coolest person in the world, and he was just an absolute idiot, thinking back on it. He was like a big pothead. He introduced my friend to weed. My friend went and got high with him for the first time. He went with some of his other friends. My friend came to me and was like, hey, I'm trying this. Do you want to try it? And I was like, this little 15-year-old who I thought I was a badass.
Yeah.
But I was scared to death. Like, legitimately scared to death. And I didn't want to not be, like, cool. Yeah. And, of course, I didn't want to tell on my friend. So... I agreed to go with him and smoke for the first time. And, we've talked about this before that, like, And I don't know if other people ever felt this way, but I didn't. I never felt like my parents, even though I loved them tremendously, loved them tremendously, I never felt like I had a safe place to go to be like, hey, mom and dad, I'm in too deep. This and this happened, and I'm scared. I need your help. Because it wasn't, and this is just JW culture.
Yes.
It wasn't just my parents that I was going to be in trouble with. It was then the elders.
Yeah.
And then the congregation.
And then your friends' parents have to get involved, and
I have to rat on my friends. Mm-hmm. Of course, Jehovah. It's not just I go to my parents and say, "Hey guys, I don't think I should be hanging around this guy anymore," or maybe you should call him and maybe just fill his parents in so that way he can get some help. Yeah. And they be like, okay, I understand. We appreciate you coming to us. And it just gets, wrapped up, and maybe there's some building blocks that they can work on. And some
repercussions, you can't play your video games or whatever it might be.
But it would have 100%, well, it did, once we got caught, it did end up becoming, a massive, massive deal. So let me take a step back. So I end up going to this guy, I told my parents I was going to spend the night at his house, my friend's house. We end up, after work, going to this guy's apartment, and it's just this seedy, nasty apartment with like 5 other people there, just a grungy place. And again, I'm 15 years old walking into this environment. I wish I just would have had the like ripcord of like break glass in case of emergency.
Like texting calling your parents, or being like, not even having to say anything. Having a safe word, and they know just to come get you.
Just come get me. But, again, that's just JW culture. So that started, I got high that night. I mean, I think I probably took 2 puffs off of whatever we were smoking, and it was just, I don't remember. It wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah.
I remember there was like this, he had snakes. And you know how I feel about snakes.
I hate snakes.
So I just remember seeing this snake in this little glass container, and the guy was like messing with it, and he took it out and like started to like hold it near me. That was a test, but I survived.
That's rough.
So that summer,
this was 15. This was before you were baptized.
Yeah. Okay. We smoked off and on, a handful of times, maybe 6 that I was involved in. I think my friends were doing it a little bit more than I was doing it. And then we invited another kid that was in a hall, probably about 20, 30 minutes away to do it with us, because he was like one of our friends, but he wasn't around us as much.
Yeah.
He was there like every month. He'd be around. And at first he was like all into it. Mm. Then his parents and him he hadn't done it. He was going to do it when he got back from the trip, and the trip was going to Bethel. Oh, gosh. And he had like, a spiritual awakening on this trip, which I don't blame. I understand. Yeah. He thinks that Jehovah's hand is directing his life and stuff like that. He ratted us out. My parents confronted me. The ish hit the fan. You've got 5 boys, 5 different families, all, in 2 different kingdom halls, or 3 different kingdom halls in the area, having to flush this out. Yeah.
And it was probably a lot of they like to catch you in lies. So they'll be like, we know everything, so you have to tell us everything. And there's always the one that tells everything. Yeah, and there was. But, I mean, again, the worst thing that we had done, we were smoking weed. Yeah. And, yes, at the time, I wouldn't want my kids doing it. Yeah. But is it the worst thing in the world? No. It'd be far worse if they were drinking.
Yes. So we were playing violent video games, listening to bad music, watching rated R movies. we were just doing, like I said, that snowball of rebellion was going.
You were doing what teenagers do, and that is testing your boundaries.
Yep.
And when you're in that religion, you were so tightly bottled up.
Yep.
Like everything is like, oh my God, this is so bad. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. So.
Yep. We all got pulled into elders meetings, and all my friends, all 4 of us so the boy that told on us obviously didn't get in any trouble. There were 3 boys, me and 2 others that just got publicly reproved.
Okay.
And the 4th boy got disfellowshipped.
Okay. And
the 4th boy was the one that was in the different kingdom hall. And I've had a chance to talk with him since, and kind of thinking back about the questions that they were asking me. It was almost like they were trying to pin all of this
on him
as being the ringleader. And yes, he is the one that started it, but it wasn't like he was like making us do all this stuff.
The elders had it out for him.
I believe that his elders and his hall had it out for him or his dad. Probably his dad.
Yep.
Because that's just the way it works. If you're not, if you're in with the right people in the hall, you can get away with anything.
Yep.
If you're on the outs at all, especially
screwed.
Back then,
you're screwed.
So I think his dad probably was, his dad was an elder as well at the time. So maybe there was something going on with that dynamic.
They were trying to get him removed, most likely.
I don't know.
There's a lot of politics in the organization.
That was for sure. So my friend got disfellowshipped, and it was like, you're kidding me.
That's crazy.
I can't talk to and he was my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, me and him hung out more than any of the group. We were super close. Yeah. So he got disfellowshipped, overnight, literally can't talk to him anymore. Him and his family kind of still are going to meetings, but I think maybe a year later, they ended up leaving the religion. So he left the religion and his family, and one of the other boys left the religion and his family. We're talking about 2 elders that left.
With their whole families.
One of them was the Kobe. What did they used to call the Kobe? The presiding overseer? Yeah. So, again, we're not just talking about regular Jehovah's Witnesses.
The top of the elders, basically.
They were at the top of, some of the elder bodies left. And I'm like watching I just thought he'd get disfellowshipped and come back. And it was like, nope, they are leaving the religion. Yep. And they, from what I remember, they just kind of faded away.
Okay.
My friends who, his dad was the Kobe, kind of the same thing. Mm-hmm. They just stopped going to meetings. I remember someone telling me a story that one of the dads drove up to an elder's house and left all the books there, all their JW books or something like that, or burned them, or I can't remember what it was, but he got rid of all of his books. Yeah. And so I'm hearing all this stuff and I'm like, what is going on? And part of me is feeling guilty, because I was wrapped up in this, and I was like, did I cause these people to, leave Jehovah?
Okay, so you got reproved.
Yep.
You had friends leave the organization after that.
Yep.
Did you continue doing bad stuff after that?
No, I became an exemplary.
I'm just kidding. I know the stories. Okay, so what led you to getting disfellowshipped, and how much longer after that were you disfellowshipped?
You're jumping the gun.
Sorry.
So after all this, I'm kind of on a spiritual high. I
know you actually had one of those.
You know how it is. You get in trouble. You're like, okay, I got to correct my course. So I became really good friends with the boy that told on us.
Okay.
I'm hanging out more with him, and me and him and another boy in the area go from, me and my other friends just doing dumb stuff, slightly illegal.
Sorry, I know the story, so
to really stupid stuff that is very illegal.
Yes.
So we were doing, he had his own place, so we were drinking, smoking, stealing stuff. We became little kleptos. And it just was like 3 wild animals.
Yeah.
Just had gotten thrown loose. And
I still can't believe that happened.
Yeah, it was stupid. And again, there were times that I was wrapped up in this and just like, I don't want to, I shouldn't be doing this. I know I'm not supposed to do this. I wish I just had that, like, break glass in case of emergency. We talked about that earlier.
That's safe space for you to go to your parents knowing it's not turning into...
Because I had already been through...
Yeah.
I had already been through judicial committees.
Yeah.
I knew how much that sucked. I knew how much it sucked to let down my family. I knew how much it sucked to get my name announced from a stage.
Yep.
That was miserable. So it was like, there were... yes, I could have made that choice, but it was like, choosing to have your leg chopped off or your arm chopped off. Which would you rather?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. Absolutely. You don't have, again, this is huge in the organization. If you've never been raised in it, you don't understand. Children should have a safe place they can go when they've done stupid stuff, they've made mistakes, or they're in a position they don't feel comfortable. In that organization, don't have that, because your parents equal elders. You talk to them about something, they're going to instantly go, well, we have to call the elders right now. And it turns into this big, huge hearing. You have to go sit in front of them and tell them every single freaking detail. It's disturbing and it's horrible. Parents don't actually parent in that organization. Mm-hmm. They rely on the elders of the congregation basically to take care of their children. And it's just disturbing. Yeah,
when you get in trouble, the first thing that happens is we have to call the elders.
Yep.
You're going to get in trouble here at home, but you're also going to be taken in front of the elders. And you're going to have to lay out all your sins in front of these men and
be judged by
them. They're not supposed to tell anyone outside of that, but
they do.
I know darn well that does happen. Mm-hmm. So there's a part of me that thinks that at that time, yes, I was bad association.
Oh, you were still bad association when I met you, so.
You can't go that far.
Sorry, I know. I'm just.
I was bad association. I wouldn't have wanted my kids to be around me at that time, but I was not a bad kid. Yeah. I was just misguided. Mm-hmm. I don't know what was going on. I was just being wild. A part of me thinks that, some of it was just being young and wild and crazy. The other part of me thinks that it was just being wrapped up in that religion in general. And being so tightly wound. So I don't remember how we got caught.
I don't know. I just thought police showed up somewhere. That was a different time. Sorry. Yeah. He doesn't know exactly how it all got found out, but something happened.
Something happened.
Holy Spirit moved someone to do something or find out something, and round 2 of judicial committees began.
So 3 kids, 3 guys, in 3 separate halls. Having judicial committees. Not thankfully, but at the time we all had jobs, so my parents took my cell phone from me, but I still was able to call. I worked at Cold Stone at the time, and I was able to use their landline to call my friends.
You gotta get your story straight.
To get our stories straight, and hey, okay, let's tell them that we did this, but we didn't do this, and this person wasn't involved, so we'll talk. So we all had our stories straight, and none of our stories were like mixing in the elders. Like we still couldn't get it quite right. So the elders realized we were all lying.
Yeah.
And there was something going on. I've never heard of this ever happening before, but they pulled all 9 elders into a room. Mm-hmm. They were done with these separate meetings.
Yeah.
They pulled all 9 elders into the back hall after a meeting of one back room, and had us boys come in one at a time.
Were your parents with you, or did you guys go back by yourselves?
Our parents were there, but I don't think they were in the meetings. Room. Yeah. So here I am. One boy gets brought in. Then another boy gets brought in.
It's not intimidating or anything.
No, it's being surrounded by 9 men. And then I get brought in, and me and my one friend, our stories aren't jiving. And we had talked previously to this. Yeah.
It's not shocking, because I could tell you something and 2 seconds later you forget it. So.
That's true. But we had talked before, and I said, let's just say his name is Joe. It's not Joe. We're going to say
changing names for
legal
purposes.
Okay, Joe, if I call you Joey, that means they know everything and just spill the beans. If I call you Joe, just keep with the story that we have. And so it was spill the beans time. So I remember walking into the room and I'm like saying hi to all the brothers and I'm like, "What's up, Joey?" And I can see his face and he's like, "Crap." And so he let everything out. So finally, after probably 9 different elders meetings.
Oh my gosh.
The truth came out. All 3 of us ended up getting disfellowshipped because it was very clear we were not repentant. I mean, we were literally trying to scheme this up until the very last second.
Up until Joey was dropped.
It's the fun. I'm kind of proud of myself, to be honest. It was funny. Looking back on it. I can remember his face. That's right. He was walking in because I had been with the elders.
Yeah.
He was walking in and he said hi to some of the elders and he darted over to me to look at what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What's up, Joey?" And I could just see his demeanor completely change. So we all ended up getting disfellowshipped.
And you were what, 17 at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then we split ways.
Okay.
So we didn't hang out while we were disfellowshipped. So I was working at Cold Stone at the time, got disfellowshipped, and pretty much that was my life.
Yeah, explain that a little bit. Well, I was never disfellowshipped, so I've never gotten to experience that.
Yeah.
But you are a 17-year-old child.
Yeah.
Who's just kicked to the curb.
Yeah. It was, I hate saying this.
I know what you're going to say. I know.
But it was the best time of my adolescent, late teens life.
Explain why.
I think my parents just felt so bad for me that I didn't have and again, this is going back to them not being super crazy strict. Mm. I think they felt bad for me, and my dad has always had a very strong work ethic. Mm-hmm. So when I told him, I'm going to switch from Best Buy to Cold Stone, he was very happy with that and fine with me having a job while I was disfellowshipped. And so they just felt bad for me that I had no one to hang out with. So they were they didn't ask any questions, anything. And I feel bad. I lied to them the entire time. I had a girl that I was very interested in, and we were dating. The whole time I was out, and she was a witness as well. We were sneaking around. I hung out with worldly people the entire time. And again, that was a very big thing growing up, is worldly people I was not allowed to hang out with worldly people. So even doing that was kind of another first, but they were just normal people.
Yeah.
So I hung out with my girlfriend and occasionally hung out with those guys from work.
You were still in school.
I was still in school, which I didn't realize until I laid all this out.
He was still in school.
Which is crazy. I was in high school.
He's a high schooler and he's disfellowshipped.
Yeah, and I'm disfellowshipped. So it was amazing. I didn't have to go in service. I could come in late to meetings and leave early to meetings, and no one questioned it.
You didn't have to talk to anyone.
I didn't have to talk to anyone. Biggest thing was just not having to go in service. That was amazing.
You did a lot of snowboarding.
I snowboarded probably twice a week. I ended up, quitting that Cold Stone job, and I went and worked at Christie Sports, which is a snowboard shop. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
I still, experienced the shunning, mm-hmm. but it was, again, at the time, I could have cared less about it. I was whatever. It didn't matter to me. There was 2 times I can remember when I was working at that ski shop, and a family walked in that was witnesses that were, just a little bit further away. And they see me there, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Lance, how's it going?" And I'm like, I just want to let you guys know I'm disfellowshipped. And the lady, like, you know, again, her demeanor just changes completely. And she's like, oh, your poor mother. And I was like, okay, do you need some help finding something?
Yeah.
And they were like, we'll talk to another associate.
Oh my
and I was
gosh.
like, okay, sounds good. And then we went to Mexico
Okay.
for like a family trip.
Yeah.
And while we were down there, you know how it is, you meet witnesses on vacation, you're reading I think my dad was reading a watchtower, and, you know, someone saw that and they were witnesses. So again, you know how it is when you're on a vacation, you see people throughout that time. I remember one time they were all like standing and talking, and I was like, you know, from here where we're at to like that lamp back there, having to like awkwardly stand
By yourself?
while, you know, my family and this other family talked because I was disfellowshipped. So that was really it. I lost my virginity while I was disfellowshipped. You know, I wasn't as bad, nearly as bad, but I still wasn't doing things that I should have been.
To work your way back.
To work my way back.
The way they tell you.
Yeah, so I literally, I cleaned up my act a fair amount.
Yeah.
But I was still, you know, doing things I shouldn't have done.
Yeah. How long were you out for? Like a full year, or was it longer than a year?
It was a full year.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote my first letter at like 6 months. That got denied, and I think I wrote the next one like at 11 months, and they approved it.
This is before it was easy to get back.
Yeah.
Before it was like, you've been out for 3 weeks, sure, you can come back.
Yeah. And,
okay.
And there was, when I was trying to get reinstated, there was this person, I don't know how to put this. There was this person that said that I was still stealing from my girlfriend's work.
Okay.
Barnes & Noble. I don't think I need to hide that.
No.
So, again, they didn't know me that well.
Yeah.
How many books had I probably read by then? Probably none.
Well, you still haven't read any, so definitely there's been none read.
I've never been a big reader.
No.
The only reason I stepped foot in Barnes & Noble is because
you were dating someone who works there.
I was dating someone that worked there. So they were saying that I was stealing stuff. And the brothers in the hall were like, we've gotten accusations that you're still, you know, stealing things and doing stuff you're not supposed to. They were just accusing me of stealing, not being with my girlfriend. And so I was like, for once in my life, I had a clean conscience. I was like, I didn't do that at all. So I literally called up the manager of the Barnes & Noble, of, you know, that specific one. And I was like, can I have a meeting with you? And I'm like 17. And, you know, she's like, sure. So I met her at the Barnes & Noble, and I was like, do you know who I am? Like, have you caught me? Do you have film of me being in here? Has someone, like, accused me of stealing? And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Because the witness said that they had talked to the manager, and...
So they were just full on lying.
Yeah, they were full on lying. And I don't know why. I get that cleared up. The elders believe me, and I was not lying for once in my life. Wasn't lying about something. And I wrote a real nice letter to the elders about why I should be reinstated, and it worked, and I got reinstated. One other quick thing.
Okay.
Talking about shunning. I got disfellowshipped around the same time. Another lady, probably, what do you think she was, in her late 20s?
Yeah, she was probably about 10 years older than you.
So I got disfellowshipped with another, around the same time that another sister in the hall got disfellowshipped, and she was a single sister. She had, at the time, I think, 2 kids?
Probably 2 at that time.
You know, and they were little toddlers. Mm-hmm. So, you know, me and her would, like, come into the hall at the same time, leave at the same time. We would exchange pleasantries as we were coming and going. And, one thing that I forgot. So when you were disfellowshipped back then, we still had the book study.
Yeah. Yep.
I wasn't allowed to go to the book study that my parents went to because they
was in a home.
They were in a home, somebody's home. I couldn't go into somebody's home as a disfellowship person. I had to go to the book study that was at the Kingdom Hall.
Okay.
So me and this sister, we're seeing each other quite a few times, and I can just remember like just being so, and she was a single mom too, and I think that kind of stuck with me just because of my mom, I went through with my mom, and I was like I wasn't like proud of her, but I was just like, I kind of looked up to her a little bit, like, look at what she's doing, she's got way more responsibility than I do, and she's still, trying her best to get back in Jehovah's good graces. And like up until we left, I always had like, we weren't in the same hall, we were in the same Kingdom Hall, we're not in the same congregation.
Yeah.
But I'd see her probably every couple of months or something like that.
We see our assemblies and stuff too. And
always just really looked up to her.
Yeah.
Because we kind of shared that bond.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know where I was going with that, but just talking about shunning, like here this lady is.
She needs
with
help. She's got
3
children,
little kids.
Yes.
And I know that those kids were able to like play inside the Kingdom Hall while she sat in the car, which is another weird. I'm sure she was doing it to give her kids some association. But when you know about the organization's history with CSA, it's kind of scary to think about if that's happening in one congregation, just multiply that across every congregation in the world. Yeah. I'm sure that kind of stuff was good. So you can see how easy it was for predators to prey on these kids. We'll get to that. Yeah. I get reinstated.
You graduate high school.
Shortly after that.
Okay.
And I quit that job at the snowboard shop. I ended up going to like 6 months. I wanted to be an architect. And again, another thing that my parents let me do that wasn't like super JW was they let me go to a little bit of community college. I think I probably went for like a year.
Okay.
I ended up dropping out because my friend got this is so intertwined. So there was the original 4 boys that got in trouble. One got disfellowshipped. He ended up getting reinstated, a couple of years later. And I ended up going to work with him at the electrical company that he worked for.
Yep.
So I worked with him and his brother.
Okay, yep.
And we worked together for probably about, I want to say maybe 6 months. And we decided to move in together.
Okay.
So we decided to...
So you moved out at 18 or 19?
I was probably 19.
Okay. So he got his own apartment. Well, you and your friend got an apartment.
A single bedroom apartment. We had it's so funny to think about this. We had a ping pong table in our living room.
Did you have a couch?
We had a couch in like the kitchen nook. So it went like kitchen nook, family room, bedroom. Yeah. And so we had our TV and our couch in the kitchen nook, our ping pong table, which barely fit in there. And then we had 2 twin beds
in the bedroom.
That's funny. And this is one other thing that I'm like, I feel really bad that I did to my parents is, I literally, me and my friend had been talking about it. You know how it is. You kind of with your best friend, you're talking about stuff. And then we ended up just like going to look at an apartment and they were like, we've got one available right now. It's $500 a month. And, at the time, we were making decent money as electricians. And they were like, it can be available next month. And we literally just like signed on the dot right there. So I feel bad. I came home that day and, told my parents I was moving out and literally like moved out that same day. So I feel very bad about that.
There was added layers to that too. Because you were still dating the girl. I was still dating.
And that's right. A big part of me moving out is because my parents would not let me date this girl.
Yeah, they didn't like her.
And they did not like her at all. And I can I say I loved her?
Yeah.
So I
did you?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I did love her. I cheated on her while I was just, you know, I lost my virginity to a worldly girl. I had cheated on her. I was not a good person to her, but she still still hung on to me.
Yeah, you guys loved each other.
Yeah.
You were just young
and she
stupid.
Still stayed by me when I was disfellowshipped. Her family was very nice to me while I was disfellowshipped and let me kind of be around them. Yeah. And so I wanted to date her. Mm-hmm. And I was, 18 at the time, and I felt like I should be able to. And so that was a big driving factor to move out. So I was like, me and my friend get this place. I can start dating this girl, officially dating, because we had literally just been like
the secret
dating,
secret witness dating, where you're talking all the time. And
it's funny because I never, outside of like making out with her, never did anything that would have gotten us disfellowshipped.
Yeah, there was heavy petting, probably.
Heavy petting. That's so gross. There was little stuff, but it was not like, in hindsight, if my mom would have just let me date her.
Yeah.
If she just would have let me date her, I would have been in a far better position than I ended up getting myself into, when I had moved out. And I think a big reason that my mom did not want me dating was because she had gotten in trouble. Yeah,
she didn't want you repeating mistakes that she made as a young teenager.
Yep.
Or a teenager.
They did not like her. My mom didn't like her. And I think a big reason is because her mom and dad were split up.
Okay.
And
they weren't super spiritual, right?
No. Her dad was basically worldly.
Yeah.
And her mom had remarried, but, not super spiritual at all. So, I think they envisioned me being with someone
more spiritual.
That looked more spiritual. Yeah. Because she...
A nice pioneer sister.
Yeah, something like that. Because while she was almost like the opposite. Some of the girls that I was around looked very spiritual.
Oh, yeah.
But behind the scenes were not. She didn't look very spiritual, but behind the scenes...
Conducted herself more like she was.
Yeah. Yes. You would say her actions when no one was looking were very Christian, Jehovah's Witness-like.
Yeah.
So it's like my mom just like could not see through that. So move out for about, me and my friend were like, we're not going to drink. We're not, because I wasn't 21 at the time. Yeah. I must have been like 19.
Okay.
Sorry. It didn't last for that long.
I'm like,
we, again, especially me, went wild. We had freedom, and we were throwing parties at parties, and it just got way out of hand.
Yeah.
Way out of hand. Again, I didn't have that like break glass in case of emergency where I could just make a call and get something figured out with just my parents.
Yeah.
The repercussions. I had twice been through the repercussions, and it was like, I'm just going to handle this on my own. And I think that was a consistent in my life of I'm just going to handle this. I'm going to figure this out on my own as a child. Our biggest thing was drinking. We never did drugs. We never smoked again. I'm actually proud of myself. I never, since the time I got caught when I was 16, never did it again.
You just drank.
But we drank a lot.
Yeah.
And we were, both electricians surrounded by, kind of rough around the edges guys. And all of our friends who were Jehovah's Witnesses as well were big partiers and big drinkers.
On the edge.
Yep. And back when I was growing up, I feel like it's different now, but I feel like back when I was growing up, it was not cool to be
the cool thing was to be the on the edge, to be the
bad guy,
the bad
news Al. I'm sure every witness, do you know who I'm talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about. There was
one movie, JW drama. Where the friend, he's got a friend that's always into bad stuff. I was Bad News Al. I think that's what they called him.
I think so too. Something like that.
And so we just partying, drinking, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. That basically bubbled over into me and him. It was mostly me. I was the loudmouth. And I've apologized to him for this because I felt like I was always kind of getting him into.
You were the instigator in issues that you guys had.
And he was always kind of like having to rescue. And he was like a foot taller than me, like
he's a tall dude.
Built like a freaking statue. Like he was a built. So he was always like getting me out of situations. And I'm getting him into situations that he shouldn't have been put in.
Yeah.
So it was, but we were still best friends. We were very close, best friends.
So you guys lived together for what, about a year or two?
Probably about 2 years.
Okay, and then
it all bubbled over.
You got in trouble again.
Yep, I got into an altercation with somebody. The cops ended up getting called. We ended up spending the night in jail. Again, I think about this stuff and I just want to kick myself. Thankfully, we get out. It works itself out. My parents had to hire a lawyer.
He's a convict. I'm just kidding. He's not.
But I moved back in with my parents at that point because we got kicked out of the...
They got kicked out. They've been banned from that apartment for life.
Got kicked out of that apartment. So, it was like... I think I felt at the time it was like, okay, I need to get out of this situation. So I moved back in with my parents.
How long after moving back home was it that we met? Because I was like right in that time frame.
It had to have been maybe 6 months.
Okay.
It was soon because we met on my birthday.
Yeah, your 21st.
Yep, in 2005.
Yes. Yeah.
I gave you my number that night. You didn't end up calling me.
I was 17.
She was 17 at the time.
My mom took the number from me.
Yep. I just happened to run. So we saw each other again about 2 months after that.
At the district convention.
At a district convention. I came in late. Mm-hmm. And you...
I was cleaning. I was being a good little...
So you walk into the doors and there's immediately stairs. Mm-hmm. And you were standing like at the top of the stairs.
Yep.
And I remember walking up and you hadn't called me yet. And so I was like... I saw you, and I was like, what did I say? Like, hey, you don't...
Yeah, I literally, I'm walking, because district conventions, if you were on the cleaning crew, right after lunch you met, and then you'd go and clean all the bathrooms when sessions had started. So I was walking with the group to go clean a bathroom, and I hear, so what, you don't call people who give you their number? And I was like, whoopsies.
So we chit-chatted that entire 3 days, because I think that was on...
It was Friday.
Friday that that we met.
Yep.
We crossed paths all 3 days, talked to each other all 3 days. We ended up meeting, how long after that?
So, I remember I invited you to go to Waterworld a month later.
Yep.
I was house sitting during that time.
Yep.
I also invited him and his friend over. Yeah. And then we got in trouble. We got caught. Yeah. Thanks to MySpace.
Yep, we got in trouble from MySpace.
And again, it was a couple months later, I think.
You were underage drinking.
I was underage drinking.
That was wrong. Shouldn't have done that. But again, we were making out.
Yeah.
Maybe some
heavy bit.
Grabbing your butt.
It was not... It was not a big freaking deal. I mean, the drinking was bad. That was horrible. But what we actually did was so not worth the amount of trouble that we got into.
Yeah.
The drinking, yes. But
I think it just got in more trouble because of my past.
Yeah.
So, your friend, you write on MySpace something about us kissing. And
no, I said you snore when you pass out.
That's right, because I slept on the couch.
Yeah. he would come after work, and it was so stupid. We were dumb. It was a very stupid thing. Mostly for the drinking part of thing, obviously. That was very stupid. But I wrote something on his MySpace page about how he snores. And a couple months later, my parents must have been looking into him more, or I didn't realize that MySpace was like open to everyone. I thought it was private.
This is way before social media was a thing.
We were still stupid and naive with social media. My parents found out. They like had to print. I remember coming home. I was working. I think
the MySpace printout. You're in trouble.
I think I was working at a jewelry store at that time. Do you remember?
I remember that. Yeah.
I worked at a jewelry store at the time, and I came home from work to my parents sitting at the table with a piece of paper in front of them. That's never a good sign. And they like come. Why don't you take a seat?
Yeah, it was
Chris Hansen style.
We got Chris Hansen.
And I was just like, oh crap. In my head, I'm like going, what could they have found? Yeah. And like, they literally slide the paper over of the like screenshot of the page. Mm-hmm. And they're like, how would you know he snores? And I was like, oh, I think I tried to like play it off that like we were on the phone and he fell asleep. And my friend was involved. She was a year younger than me, so again, underage drinking, horrible, stupid idea.
It was stupid.
Him and his friend were over 21, so again, stupid. She was the one that spilled the beans to everything. We, I think, tried to like get our story straight. Yeah. And his friend was already about to be disfellowshipped.
He was literally. They were making the announcement like the week after. Yeah. I didn't ever tell you that until later on in the relationship.
Yeah. No, I knew.
Oh, you did?
I knew when he came to the house. You're like, my friend's kind of going to be getting his fellowship. So can he still come over? And I was like, yeah, why not?
I'm starting to think we're the problem.
We are the problem. Anyways, the friend spilled the beans. That was like a couple months after the actual, like, him coming over. And it was a full-on just like, you're never going to talk to that boy again. You will never see him again. And it was like, my phone was taken away unless I was at work.
You had to go through... And I think you talked about this.
We all went, I talked about this. We went through judicial committees, like all of us. So him, again, me, and my friend.
Another sitting in front of 3 elders.
Yeah. And in my case, like my parents were in the room with me, so they got to hear every explicit detail, which was super fun. I got reproved. I didn't get disfellowship. Me and my friend both got reproved.
I don't know how.
Privately reproved. It wasn't public.
I got publicly reproved.
Yeah, but you were already in trouble, weren't you?
What?
Hadn't you just gotten in trouble for something else?
No, I had... It was kind of known that I was like a wild party animal.
Yeah. That's why
I don't know how I didn't get DF'd. And I think that it's just because of who I knew at the time. I worked for an elder.
Yeah.
There was an elder... A very big elder.
Your dad was an elder at that point.
Yeah, a very big elder that worked in that company. Mm-hmm. There was my dad being an elder.
He had the connections at that
point. So I think that I had to, and like, I think my parents could see that I was getting over my previous my ex, because we had broken up by that time. We were broken up for some time. Mm-hmm. But I think this was the first time that they could see, oh, he's officially moving on from her.
Yeah.
And they disliked her so much that it was like, I think they could tell that this was, serious. Mm-hmm. And maybe they were telling the elders, like, can you please have some mercy on him? He's, this girl, Alissa, he's very, her dad was an elder.
Yeah, my dad was an elder.
Your dad is an elder.
Yeah.
Your mom, Uber
JW.
Mm-hmm. So I think from a optic standpoint, you were the type that they wanted me to be with.
I'm really disappointed. No, just kidding. I think they saw like a potential for somebody that they actually would like to have.
And they knew
in
they
the
could see that I really liked you.
Yeah.
So I think behind the scenes there had to have been
you had some strings
pulling of the strings, because I had gotten caught multiple times drinking. Don't know how I ever didn't get pulled into an elder's room.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I do remember. So obviously underage drinking, stupid thing. My best friend who was there, her dad was threatening to like get police involved and turn him into police. Him and his friend in for like supplying underage children with alcohol.
Yeah,
and I remember the elders were like, don't do that. We are not getting police involved in this. Don't bring reproach on the organization. So he backed off.
I would have been the same way.
Yeah.
So I applaud him for that.
Yeah. So we got in trouble, and I was only probably about 4 months away from turning 18, I think. And so we were banned from each other,
Yep.
but MSN Messenger was around at the time, and my parents didn't know how that worked. So I would stay up late, and we would chat pretty much nightly.
Yeah, we were just secretly dating.
We would meet up sometime. My sister would I would go spend time with my sister and my nephew, and she would allow him to come over, and we would go meet up at malls or whatever. We were still very actively seeing each other. And when I turned 18 is when I was like, I'm going to date this boy whether you like it or not. And we started officially dating.
Once we were allowed to officially start dating publicly, and your parents knew about it, my parents knew about it, I feel like my trajectory just started going up. I started, taking my job really seriously. I started taking the truth really seriously. I loved you. And it was very clear, okay, nothing's going to keep us apart.
Yeah.
And so I could see a future with you. And I knew that all of this stuff that I was doing just wasn't going to cut it.
Yeah.
And so my best friend, he was disfellowshipped, and I didn't hang out with him. It was probably a couple months after he got disfellowshipped that I stopped hanging out with him. I kind of cut out some other people in my life because I felt like they were just holding me back.
Yeah.
And I really started taking everything in my life seriously for once.
Yeah.
And it was for the better. I became a much better person. I still was never the uber spiritual JW. I got real close to becoming a ministerial servant, but I never pushed to that next level.
It was never something that seemed to appeal to you.
Yep.
Okay, so tide shifted. You were 22 by that point.
Yep.
And we were married a year later.
Yep.
When you were 23 and I was 19. Gosh, I was so young.
Yeah.
We were so young, both of us. I, in my video, talked about how we always were kind of up and down.
Yep.
Both of us fully believed, correct?
Fully believed. There
Yeah.
was, I lived every second of my life knowing that I was in the one true religion. I loved Jehovah. I always felt tremendous guilt for not doing as much as I could, but I could never, I watched my cousins being elders or being ministerial servants, then becoming elders.
They were elders young.
Very young. And I could never get the car jump started down that road.
Yeah.
It was just nothing was holding me back. We were married. We weren't doing anything that we shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
And I could never get that engine started.
Yeah. I feel that was both of us.
Yeah.
We fully believed, but we just always would struggle with consistency and motivation, I guess would be the right word, to be that gung-ho center of the congregation. Him reaching out, me being a pioneer, it just never, something was always off and amiss that prevented that from clicking into place.
And I was always known for my work ethic. And so once we got married, my job as an electrician required me to work Saturdays at times, probably I'd say, what do you think? 50% of the time, maybe 25% of the time?
I mean, in the summer months, it always felt like it was almost every other Saturday.
Across the whole year, probably, 25% of the time, every fourth, Saturday we were having to work. And I worked with a bunch of other witnesses, and they were all ministerial, the older generation than my generation, or
10 years older than you. Plus.
Not so, maybe 5 to 10 years older than us. The guys that were having kids, they had the same responsibility that the same responsibility work-wise. They, of course, had kids.
Yeah.
So they had more responsibility.
Yeah.
And, I'd see them reaching out, becoming ministerial servants. And again, I was like, why can I not just do this? Why is it not within me to progress like other people? And I always beat myself up about that. Beat myself up. I still loved Jehovah with my whole heart. I still loved my religion with my whole heart. I believed everything about that religion I believed, and I had been through the ringer my own doing, but I had been through some of the negative things about it, and I just was like, well, that's me. I'm the problem. And granted, yes, I did bring a lot of that out myself, but there could have been a better support system back when I was frickin' 16 to help pull me out of it and maybe give me some direction in my life to go in besides just being a good witness, besides just going to Bethel. Hey, maybe let's let him play lacrosse, because that's all he talks about and all he wants to do. Let's let him go join a hockey team or something like that. That way I have some kind of direction and some kind of, leadership and something
good to have you distracted with instead of you turning into the teenager you did turn into.
So I forgot where I was going with this.
If you would have had more direction as a young person.
So I had been through.
Maybe it would have then trickled over into your adult
and I wouldn't have gone, as crazy as I went in my, late teens and early 20s. So I was seeing all these other guys doing the same amount of work as me. I couldn't kind of get it jump started like they could. And again, I just felt bad about myself and always kind of beating myself up. That's where I was going with this. I 100% believed it. I believed every teaching. I didn't have one doubt.
And neither of us did.
Didn't have one doubt. And I had watched myself get disfellowshipped. I had watched two of my best friends, entire families of 4, 8 people that I knew
just gone
very intimately leave the organization. And not just like they moved areas, they left the religion. So I had watched all of this stuff happen and play out, and I still didn't doubt. I didn't have any doubts. Ever.
Me and you were very similar in the sense that, like, we believed it to our core and always felt like something was wrong with us.
We were the problem.
We were the issue because we just couldn't make it happen. Why is it blurry? It was just blurry for a minute there. Okay, we're fine. Let's kind of fast forward then to when did doubts start happening? Because I mentioned this in my video, he was the first one to wake up.
So that's definitely one thing I want to clear up. And
I've talked about it in other videos.
You've talked about it, but I feel like everyone on my side blamed you, and everyone on your side blamed me. The truth is, this all started with me.
He was the issue.
We're going to clear that up right there. I am the one that started all of this. So that's clear. So I've got my notes.
He's got his notes.
On a Pokemon binder. Demonic.
Okay, so here we go.
So Gracie was born in November of 2000.
October of 2019.
October of 2019. So this is the first chink in the foundation. The first hit to my spiritual foundation. We're getting ready, super excited. Could not wait to become a dad. Loved pregnant Alissa, one of my favorite Alissas of all time. Even though you were puking.
I was puking 9 months straight.
I still love pregnant Alissa. And getting ready to go. I think your dad sent you some documentation that they send.
Both
pregnant women.
Your dad and my dad gave me whatever the printout is they give pregnant women. The elders hand them out, and it's just to remind you of the blood issue and all that stuff.
So we've got our blood cards ready. We've got our blood cards on file with the hospital. Again, we're trying to, even though we weren't like super visible, we were still doing the things behind the scenes to please Jehovah and do what was right for our God, Jehovah. We get to the hospital. You get all set up. The doctor that's on call that would have delivered her comes into...
Sorry.
comes in and she's like, hey, I just wanted to double check something that was on your chart. And it says here that you don't want blood. And for the first time in my life, not for the first time in my life, but I feel like I stood up for Jehovah and said, that's correct. We do not accept blood. We've given everything that the nurses need. I thought we gave you everything. And she's like, I just want to make sure that you're okay with her. She pointed at Alissa, with her or your child dying in a worst case scenario. And at the time, I played that through in my head and unplayed it through and was like, yes, this is what we believe. And we do not want any blood. And if there's a worst case scenario, then we don't accept blood. And she was respectful and walked out of the room. But I felt so proud of myself in that moment. Because again, I never made anyone proud as a Jehovah's Witness. But I stood there in front of you and I felt, and my God, and in something very scary, and stood up for him. Mm-hmm. I stood there with a straight spine, just like Jesus did when he was getting, spit on and beat up and all that. Yeah. So she excuses herself from the room. It's very faith strengthening. Mm-hmm. That was so faith strengthening. Delivery starts happening. We're getting going. Just a beautiful process. Watching you and the strength that you had and just the beauty of childbirth in general. I wish I could relive it 1,000 times.
Me too.
And little Gracie comes out and they whisk her off the little cart, clean her up, and all I'm seeing is what's going down with the doctor. Yeah. And she's like frantically doing stuff. And I'm sure that's normal, but there started to be just like blood everywhere. Mm. Like on her hands, and like it was getting like on her and on her mask. And it was like time just slowed down to a crawl. And I can just vividly remember her. She's looking at Alissa, working on her, and she looks up at me almost as like are you sure about this? Are you sure that this is okay? So something was going on, and whether it was run-of-the-mill, I'm sure these doctors see a lot of things. I don't know where it landed on the normal to emergency blood transfusion situation, but we were somewhere in here, and I went from my faith being just like so high, and then watching this beautiful thing happen, and my beautiful daughter coming into this world, and watching your strength through all of that, and then becoming confronted with that almost like a freaking bus hitting a building. And it was like someone hit me with a baseball bat across the face. And that moment went away. Time started going again. She got you all taken care of. Mm-hmm. Everything ended up being fine. The lady excused herself. The nurses came in. Just, it all worked out the way it should have. So that was the point in my life where I was like, I can do this. I stood up for Jehovah, even though it felt like someone hit me with a baseball bat. Once I was confronted with it, I felt like I had passed a test. Mm-hmm. And I felt like it was almost like not a sign from Jehovah, but it was like I had given something to him that I felt I could build on. Like, Jehovah, I've spent my whole life being an idiot, but I just did this for you, and I'm just going to start stacking good things on top of good things. I'm going to do this. 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 So we left that hospital. You know, we get out of the flurry of the newborns, the very, very newborn stage. And I'm like, I'm going to start studying. I'm going to start studying with you. We're going to start, you know, reading my book of Bible stories to her. I would wake up super early in the morning and like do my daily Bible. Like that was the apex of my spirituality after that happened. So that was a good, she was born October. They're going to roast me for this. So from October of 2019 to about July of 21, I was at my spiritual height. And this was during COVID.
Yeah.
So Gracie was born into COVID.
Yeah.
We were all locked down, got to spend so much time with her and Alissa. And I was, you know, extremely busy with real estate. So I was like, you know, still working quite a bit, but you know, I felt like I got to spend a lot more time with you guys, and going to meetings was easier just because it was flipping on a camera.
Yeah.
I remember even being like, you know, the whole joke during COVID was not wearing pants.
Yeah.
This was just something that I did for myself. I was like, I'm just going to get dressed as if I was going to every meeting, and that's just going to include me having a full suit on.
Yeah.
So I would shoes, socks, pants, shirt, tie, jacket. It was, again, just, I was trying to add these things on to prove to Jehovah, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Bless me. Give me, I've read in the Bible so much that there are, you know, if you do things for Jehovah, that he will bless you.
Yep.
And so I'm just trying everything in my power to get these blessings. And I feel like I was getting them. Like, I feel like we really did take off. And the religion became a lot easier because of COVID. And there was not a lot of, you know, pressure.
Yeah.
And that really, I felt skyrocketed me.
And I also feel like during that time, we had more parts than we ever had in our lives.
Yes.
I think because a lot of people didn't want to do it over Zoom. So I feel like Lance had a Bible reading or something almost monthly.
Yeah.
And like I was doing a lot of parts myself. So it was kind of like we were finally turning into more of a staple in our congregation, I guess, like more in the center of it than we had ever been in our entire lives.
We tried to always have our camera on.
Yep.
We were always going in our little service groups where we would do like, you know, round robin phone calls or letter writing, things like that. That wraps up the spiritual apex of my life. Then we found out about Brooks.
Yeah.
And that was July of 21.
Yep.
So from October of 19 to July of 2021, the most spiritual I've ever been in my entire life. You and me, I feel like, as a couple, as a family, spiritually on cloud 9.
Yeah.
So we found out about Brooks. And I had kind of shelved the blood issue. I just figured, you know, we got past that. I stood up for Jehovah. I don't need to worry about it anymore. Then Brooks, we found out Brooks was coming along. And I was determined to take that off the shelf, have a crystal clear picture of why I don't believe in this. Just more than just, I don't believe in this because the Bible says we don't take blood.
Yeah, because we're Jehovah's Witnesses and that's just what we do.
I wanted to know every single soul. I wanted to know where it started. I wanted to know why it started. I wanted to know the history. I was like, because it had to have started somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking back. I was like, I don't think that, like, early witnesses believed this. So I was like, I need to find where this started in our religion, why it started. I needed to know everything. Yeah. So I got on jw.org, plugged in the blood doctrine or whatever blood, and researched as much as I could. And pretty much came up empty.
Yeah.
you know, it was explained like I had had it explained to my entire life, but it was like, but this is just talking about eating blood.
Ingesting it.
And there's so many types and antitypes and, you know, things that are an illustration that aren't real or don't apply to these days. And so I just kept like, I could never pinpoint my finger and go, okay, here we go. This is it right here.
This makes total sense. I get it.
It was just a trust me, bro. Kind of a situation. Okay. One of the biggest things was that I ran into was the blood fractions.
Oh, yeah.
So I had known about that, but it's just like with anything. It doesn't matter until it matters.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, I got to figure out, why did we change our beliefs? If blood was always bad, why now all of a sudden are we allowed to do fractions of it? You know, I can't do fractions of things that are bad. Like, I can't fractionally cheat on you, or I can't fractionally be into drugs. Yeah, you know, it would be like if I had a friend that would just blow weed in my face and I got secondary, what is that called?
Contact high, isn't it? Something
There's
like
a word for it.
I don't know. Is it contact high?
Someone's going to have to put that in there. I should know this. I
You
smoked
should.
6 times in my life.
You're basically
Secondhand smoke. You know, that's what it was equated to me. Like, why did we change this? And again, there was no like concrete evidence. It was all just like dancing around. Like, it was just like dancing around the subject. And I was like, I don't believe, like, if I can't have blood, because remember they said they left it up to each individual Christian.
It's a conscience matter.
And before I was like, I don't care. Yeah, I'll take whatever you want to give me. But now I was like, well, if I tell my kids they can't have blood, like, we shouldn't have any of it.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to fractionalize it, and that's okay.
It all comes from the same place.
So, again, I was determined to figure all of that out. And I finally, after I exhausted jw.org, I started going on, like, medical.
You Googled it.
I Googled it. And I would literally, I'm not kidding you, I would, like, put my hand on my screen. Because you type in, I would type in Jehovah's Witness blood doctor's viewpoint. And you know how Google is. There's all sorts of... So I would, like, literally, like, cover stuff up as I'm, like, Googling.
To make sure it's not apostate?
To make sure I wasn't looking at apostate stuff. And so I'd find, like, it wasn't WebMD, but, like, a WebMD website. Or, like, a doctor's forum. Or a doctor's journal. Or, you know, an essay that was written by... Just finding stuff that I could say, this is not... apostates. This is, you know, doctors, professionals talking about this situation, people that were completely unbiased in the situation, just giving their opinions and giving their thoughts. And that pretty much was a wrap for me as far as the blood doctrine. Again, I still believed everything else, but I was like, okay, I'm fine with you getting a blood transfusion, or my kids getting a blood transfusion, if it comes to that.
Yeah.
And a part of that was learning about breast milk.
Yeah.
Breast milk has
whole white blood cells.
Whole white blood cells, like millions and millions of them. So here I am finding this out, and I was like, this can't be true. I was like, this has got to be an apostate website. So I back out of it. Are there white blood cells in breast milk? You know how Google gives you like a summary?
Yeah.
It's like, yes nearly
it's like
10 million per little drop of breast milk contains white blood cells. And other forms as well, right? Because there's 4 parts of blood.
I think, I can't remember. It's platelets, I think, or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember. There's two components that of the, like, whole blood cells and whole blood whatever that are not allowed by Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So that was just, once I had exhausted that and realized, oh my God, like, So either Jehovah got this wrong and created women to produce a part of the blood that is not okay on our little graph.
That's banned.
Or these men have it wrong. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, Jehovah was perfect, or is perfect.
Yeah.
God is perfect. Why would he design the woman's body in such a way to break one of his laws? Mm-hmm. So that was just like a death blow. Mm-hmm. I still believed everything. It was just like, this is going to be something that I don't believe in. I can believe everything else. Yeah. Oh, another thing that I had found out too was being raised in the truth. I was always told that how nasty it would be to have someone else's blood inside of you. It's so nasty and gross. It'll always be inside of you. That you'll have this person's blood till you die. So I Googled, how long does blood stay in your body? And again, Google giving me the short summary. Your body recycles blood every month or two.
I think it's every 6 weeks.
So even if you got a blood transfusion, your blood would eventually regenerate.
And recycle it out.
And, there's always the argument of, well, they could have AIDS, Alissa. They could have AIDS. They could have
your safety.
They could have hepatitis.
Yeah.
And you're taking that chance. Well, what if the knife that someone cuts you open with wasn't cleaned properly?
Yep.
Or what if someone doesn't wash their hands quite properly? There's risk in any medical procedure.
Yep.
But you know what's for sure? If you're in that situation and you need blood and you're dying, it's almost guaranteed you're gonna die. Okay? So again, none of this was adding up, and I was just getting further and further away from it. Mm-hmm. So my next step in all of this is I was reading these websites, again, written by doctors, and they would talk about the Elder's Handbook and how there was certain instructions in the Elder's Handbook that they were like warning other doctors about.
Okay. And
so I had known about the secret elders book for some time. My cousins were elders, and they showed it to me. I was in the inn.
Wow.
So
it's like illegal.
I start on jw.org like an idiot, thinking it's going to be on there. I type in elders.
Secret elders handbook.
I type in elders book, and nothing shows up. Elders manual, nothing shows up. Come to find out, this is only given to elders and not... I knew that it was only given to elders, but I figured there'd still be a copy of it like online or documentation of it or something.
Yeah.
There was nothing on jw.org. So I was like, okay, well, I am going to search for this. And again, I'm trying to I feel like such an idiot. I was covering up like Reddit and things like that. Yeah. And finally found the Australian Royal Commission, because I was looking for something that just said PDF at the end. I was looking for, eldersbook.pdf, something like that. Because when you search for something, you're looking for a manual or something like that, instruction manual, you'll see the PDF. So I wasn't looking for a website. I was just looking for
an actual PDF.
A PDF that I could get directed to from a...
Sorry.
We've been going for a while.
Yeah. Okay, go on. So you were looking for a PDF?
I was looking for a PDF from a website that I felt was reputable and not,
hadn't been tampered with, or like apostates are putting something fake out there.
Not, jwsarethedevil.com, something like that. So lo and behold, I find Australian Royal Commission. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what it was at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, well, this is from an Australian, some kind of government website. So I was like, okay, perfect. Click, got it, downloaded it, went to the section just about blood. And again, because I had reaffirmed to myself, I don't believe in this. I don't think Jehovah is going to hold it against me if I do this, but I still have to deal with the brothers, again, because I've dealt with this my entire life. Yeah. So I needed to know what I was in for. And basically what I came up with, or what I came up with, what's in there is that if you take a blood transfusion, you and you're not repentant, then you would just be disassociated.
Okay.
Call it disfellowshipped. It's the same thing. They just reword it a different way so that they're not liable.
Like they can't be sued for it.
So I was like, I'm thinking about this in my head. So in a worst case scenario, if I let you, or, we give you blood, or we give our daughter blood, and someone finds out, or I decide, hey, because I am at my spiritual apex, I want to get this off of my chest. Hey, I will go to the elders and say that this was on me. Alissa was not involved in this. I was the one that made the decision. And if those brothers don't have mercy on me, I'm out of the religion for a year.
Yeah.
I get disfellowshipped for a year. I come back, but I still have you, or I still have my daughter or my son, and life goes on. Yeah. So I'll take a year's worth of punishment or being ignored and shunned to have my wife and my baby. So it was just like, this is just like any other sin, but this sin carries the weight of death.
Yep.
This sin carries so much more. This isn't like me going and becoming addicted to gambling or drinking. This is someone's life
and death, literally. Yeah.
So I figured out, what I would do in that scenario. I felt like I was fully prepared for Brooks to come along. So this is where the rubber starts to meet the road. So we were preparing. It was probably a month or so before Brooks was born.
Maybe, yeah, it was a few weeks or something.
So I decided it was time that I let you in on this.
Yeah.
Because up until this point, I hadn't discussed this with anyone.
And I had no idea this was going on.
This was all being done in private browsers. Not the jw.org stuff, but me going on
those other
websites. I still didn't want to be there to be. That just shows how deep this stuff goes.
Yeah.
So I pulled you aside in that bathroom over there, and I said, I just want to let you know that if something happens during this pregnancy, that I'm going to accept or let you accept blood, or let one of the kids accept blood. Okay. And I said, I'll take the heat for it. And I kind of explained a few things to you.
Yeah.
And thankfully you were open to hearing it, and you weren't like, where did you find this stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know if, in the back of your head you were thinking that.
Honestly, that's the weird thing. It didn't raise any red flags to me. I was just like, that's fine. I want to live.
And I think it was because it genuinely came from a place of concern, and I had done my homework.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I didn't believe in this religion anymore. I was just like, I don't believe in this little thing. I can still believe everything. I just won't believe this.
Yeah.
So Brooks was born in March of 22. We had the same doctor
deliver him. Yes.
But we went through, a different process at the beginning. We took our blood cards off of.
Yeah, we took them, like my medical durable power of attorney. We took off my file, so it wasn't on there anymore.
They didn't ask us about it.
I think because it was off.
Yeah, so I think they kind of just let it be.
Well, with brace, I don't know if you remember, but they have to put a special bracelet on you that says no blood. So, because my medical durable power of attorney was on file, so I had a little red bracelet that said no blood. So that probably because it wasn't on file, it didn't trigger anything.
Yeah. So it was the same doctor that was involved with Gracie that gave, delivered Gracie. The delivery goes great. Another beautiful delivery. Everything goes fine. There was no blood situation that was happening down there. His birth was like...
It was
boom.
So fast.
It was so fast. It was so easy. And I remember Brooks gets whisked away to that little area, where they clean him off and do all that fun stuff. The lady, the doctor stitches you up, gets you ready. She stood... I've got such vivid memories of this woman. One day I'm going to thank her for all this. She stood up, took off her... scrubs,
her gown,
gloves. Got down to her
her
regular scrubs, walked directly to me and gave me a hug.
She gave him the biggest hug, and she had tears in her eyes.
Yes,
She was very emotional.
Didn't think much of it at the time. She walks out and we kind of go about our life. And later on, I'm kind of thinking to myself, I was like, I wonder if she was relieved that she saw that the blood thing was taken off of our chart. And she remembered the last pregnancy where something was going wrong. And she probably, in her mind, was like, okay, these guys somehow changed their mind about this. And now we don't have to go through that if something like what happened before happens again.
Yeah.
So I think it was partially a part of her just being completely relieved that nothing happened, and maybe a little bit like proud of us as well.
Yeah.
And again, I wish I could thank that woman, and one day I will find her and thank her.
She still works where I go. She's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She just no longer delivers babies.
Okay.
It was like the last year she delivered. What happened after that?
Yep.
Because this is when I feel like your waking up truly began, right?
So this is...
Because you still fully believed it was
Still fully
the
believe
truth.
it.
You
Yep.
believed it was the right one true religion.
Yep.
You just didn't believe that one doctrine.
Correct.
So then what happened from there to you becoming this evil apostate you've turned into?
So I feel like so he was born 1 month before in-person meetings started. So once in-person meetings started, that was in April of 22. We were good little Jehovah's Witnesses. We packed our family up, took them to their first meeting. We were all messed up.
We went to Memorial.
We were so excited. This was just going to be our new life. Again, I was still, peak spirituality besides the blood thing.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say I was kind of coming down off of that peak. At the time, having the second baby was not easy. And you, of course, carried much more of that load, but it still was not easy for me becoming a father of two. And there was a lot of repressed things that I had never dealt with from my biological father. And so I was just like, I've got to talk to someone about this. I've got to get this figured out. And so I scheduled a therapy appointment to and I've never, outside of talking with you, I never talked about this to anyone.
No.
At length. People knew about it, but I never talked to them. So I'm laying out all of this stuff about my biological father, and, we work through that. And then she starts to, talk about, life outside of that. And, I don't know how we got around to talking about the religion, but I think it was something to the effect of like, I cannot remember. I really wish that I could, but we started talking about the religion, and I think I was just saying,
Let me interject here.
Please.
I'm like 90% sure it was brought up because she was asking in a way, like, is this something that puts extra strain and stress on you?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, that's why it was kind of brought up.
Yeah. And, I started telling her the path that I had taken with the blood doctrine. Yeah. And, she was like, is there anyone that you can talk to about this? And I said, I've talked to my wife. And she was like, is there anyone else, though? And I said, unfortunately, I can't. Like, you don't understand. Like, if I tell people that I believe this...
Or you don't believe it.
Or I don't believe it, this could have major consequences. And she was like, well, it sounds like you're in a cult. And she wasn't trying to be rude or anything like that. I think that was just, her response to it. And I was like... okay, well, you're wrong, but thank you and have a good day. And it was, it did help out a lot. She was like, I urge you to find someone that besides me that you can talk to this about. So, as I'm leaving, I'm like racking my brain. Who can I talk to this about? Who can I talk to? And I couldn't think of anyone. And thankfully, I did finally think of someone that was like right in front of my face in a way that I could talk to this about. So I text this person and I said, hey, can you give me a call? I just want to chat about some things. And that person helped me tremendously, being able to, for once in my life, vocalize, how I was feeling about certain things. I got to talk to this person about, my biological father, the issues that I had with the religion. Mm-hmm. And I was just, for once in my life, able to kind of get this all out off of my chest a little bit more candidly than I was with you, because you still very much so were uber
convicted.
You were very convicted. You were very, very in it. There was no doubts for you except for the blood. And I think the blood thing, you probably were just, I don't know, you tell me.
I don't even think it was a doubt. I just valued all of our lives more than it. And when he told me he'd done all the research, I'm like, I trust you, that's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yep. So this person helped me really open my eyes, and they were still very much so devoted to the religion. Mm-hmm. So we both were just able to talk about things that we had never been able to talk about before.
Yeah.
About just the man-made aspects of the religion versus the spiritual aspects of the religion.
You could talk candidly with no judgment.
Yes. It wasn't like I was going to an elder in the hall or a friend in the hall or my parents. If I would have rattled that stuff off about blood, it would have been, all right, we need to point you back to jw.org and you need to read this. And it's like, guys, I've already read that.
Yeah.
I already know what you're doing. So I already know where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. We were just able to have a very open and honest conversation. And that was pivotal.
Yeah.
And that person, we strayed from God after we left. That person was a very pivotal person in us, or in me, working my way back to God.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, you as well. So, there's all these people, all these characters in this movie. That person is another huge character, beneficial character in this movie.
Yeah.
And finally, I was like, I'm going to look at apostate material. I was like, I am going to see, and again, it was just blood.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to see why people talk negatively about this besides doctors.
Yeah.
So I was about 30 minutes early to an appointment. I could literally drive you there right now to the house that I was at. I was parked, in an alleyway on the side.
It was shady.
It wasn't an alley. I was just parked on a side street. Had about a half an hour.
Yeah.
I typed in blood Jehovah's Witnesses or Jehovah's Witnesses blood into YouTube, and the first video that pops up is Lloyd Evans. It's called 7 Questions for Jehovah's Witnesses on Blood Transfusions. And I was shaking like a fish out of water. Is that a saying?
I don't think so. Shaking like a leaf.
Shaking like a leaf. My finger, it was just like, and again, I wasn't awake by any means, but I knew the blood doctrine was wrong.
Yeah.
It was so hard for me to press that button, and it was literally like I was watching porn. So click that video. I'm like watching it, and Lloyd is going on laying all of this stuff out. I wish I could remember what he just laid the blood doctrine out just perfectly, and why it is just complete BS from a medical standpoint and from a spiritual standpoint.
Yeah.
It is not biblical.
Yeah.
So I get like halfway through that video. I have to still go to this appointment. I'm still like shaky. My mind is not on that appointment at all.
Yeah.
I'm like,
did you get the?
I still
Did you
got
get the listing?
I still got the listing. But that whole time I'm walking around the house and sitting with this guy, all I can think about is this guy might as well have Lloyd Evans' head on him. And so, I get done with the appointment. The second I get back in my car, I click play and I listen to the rest of it on the drive home. Mm-hmm. And that's when the floodgates opened.
Yeah. I was still unaware of everything at this time.
Yeah. So this was November of 2022 was the first, and this was like 5 months after my therapy appointment. This was the first apostate thing I had ever looked at in my entire life.
Yeah.
I want to just sidetrack real quick and speak to the Jehovah's Witnesses that come into your comments and come into other TikTokers' comments and other, just other clearly apostate stuff, and witnesses coming in there to those comment sections and starting to yap. Yeah. So I just want to run through my history with apostasy, because I'll get to why I'm doing this in a second. So the first time we ever...
I wasn't with you.
You were with me.
I was?
Yes. Oh. We were in service, and we ring the doorbell, and this guy was extremely nice, said he's not interested, and literally as we're like walking off the doorstep, he goes, "You guys should really look into what's going on with your religion. There's a lot of stuff in the news right now." And at the time, I'm just like, whoop, that part of your brain, just you even get a remote whiff of apostasy. It just turned off, and I didn't think about it ever again.
I obviously don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I was that shut down.
I don't have a date for this, but it's got to have been around the Australian Royal Commission.
It probably was, because that was probably when I was pioneering, which was 2016-ish. Yeah. The Royal Commission was happening in 2015.
Yep. So that was the first run-in with quote-unquote apostasy, and I immediately shut it down and forgot about it. Didn't, start researching it more or do anything like that. The next thing, we were going to Bethel.
It was 2018, sorry.
2018, way before kids came along.
Yeah.
I was Googling, Bethel tours, or, what to do in New York, and up pops Lloyd Evans' video.
Lloyd Evans.
I didn't know who he was at the time, but it just said, like, I can't remember what the title of the video was, but it's something to the effect of, a tour of Bethel or something like that. So I click on the video, and I get like 2 minutes into it, and I realize, oh my God, this is an apostate walking in Bethel. Mm-hmm. And immediately click out of the video. I'm sure I said a prayer. I shut it down. I was like, oh my God.
Didn't you say you cleared your history?
I cleared my history. It was like, again, I was scared to death.
Yeah.
So got off of it, cleared that out of my mind.
Pillowgate.
So I don't want to mention who it was, but someone very close to me.
I feel like you should, but that's just me being sassy.
Someone very close to me. Well, let's explain what there was a Netflix special, comedy special, and at the end of the comedy special, this guy started talking about Pillowgate. If you're not familiar with Pillowgate, just go Google it. It's
like an eternal video from Bethel.
Yeah, like an onboarding video for Bethelites. Okay. This is like the first thing Bethelites see when they come to Bethel, is this video basically all around masturbation,
yes,
sex. So you get these guys that are like, probably never touched themselves in their life, and they're just big, wide-eyed, ready to get to work for Jehovah.
Yeah.
And here they get to learn about, the reason it's called Pillowgate is there's a section where the brother talks about
basically humping a pillow.
Yeah, not putting a pillow between your legs when you sleep. You gotta. We'll link it somewhere.
I might try to find a clip and just throw it in real quick.
It's hilarious, but we'll put a link somewhere so you can go watch it.
Suppose a brother starts rubbing his against a pillow.
It is worth It is worth watching.
It's painful, to say the least.
So this comedian does a skit on this, and this person that showed it to me, says, "Oh, I was just watching Netflix and this popped up," and he showed me and another person this video, and I'm like, it was fun. The guy was funny about it, so I kind of watched through it, and it was like, it was clearly produced by Jehovah's Witnesses, so I was like, this isn't bad. I
think Gary Bro's the one in it.
Yeah, Gary Bro was in it.
We recognized him.
It was more funny than it was anything, and this person showed an elder.
I saw it too. Showed
an elder, and the demeanor on the elder's face went from, oh, what are you guys looking at, to...
Yeah. It was
stoic.
Intense. It was intense.
You need to turn that off right now.
Turn that off right now.
Turn that off right now.
Where did you find this?
Where did you find that? And it was like, whoa, this is just like, I didn't, this isn't me. This is this person. And then the very last thing was on Gizmodo. Gizmodo is like a tech website. I have always been super into tech, especially when I was younger, looking at reviews and seeing what's coming out next, and the Apple, and I've just always been into tech, and Gizmodo is one of the top websites. I'd always check Gizmodo and Mac Rumors every morning to see what was going on in that world. And one day I log on to Gizmodo, and Jehovah's Witnesses, child abuse, something.
Yeah.
And again, click off just as quickly as I can.
I'm looking for it because you sent it to me.
Yeah, there it is.
Whistleblower. I'll include this, but it's about how there is a whistleblower about the confidential documents.
And this was in
CSA.
2018.
Yeah, so that was...
So what I'm getting at here is I want to be as respectful as possible. I'm not as nice as her. I can be very... I'm not as nice as her. When I see you Jehovah's Witnesses come into these comments, one, I'm kind of proud of you because you're taking a step that even me, as someone who was never spiritually strong, could. So you're doing something that even something you would consider spiritually weak, I could never even do it. I want to say this as respectfully, but as firmly as possible. You are a disgrace to yourself. You're a disgrace to your brothers and sisters. You're a disgrace to your leaders, the governing body. And you're a disgrace to your God. If you truly believe this, and you believe that we are mouthpieces for Satan, you shouldn't be coming within a mile of us. If you accidentally click on a video or scroll through something in TikTok, you should be exiting out of that right away. Someone like me, who was even so spiritually weak, had the mindset and the love for Jehovah and the respect for my religion enough to get the heck out of there. I did that. But here you are, coming into her comments, chirping back at her. You're a disgrace. You are a disgrace. I had to say that.
I love it. Yeah.
Can I have a drink of your water?
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I think it's people that think that they're so superior that nothing will affect them. Yep. Well, you're the next one's coming out.
Never would. And I've done bad things. I've done which we've talked about. I was a bad Jehovah's Witness at points, and at times a bad human. But I still never crossed that line. Never. I knew that was the line not to cross. I don't know how you do it. There's a part of me that's proud of you for doing it, but there's also a part of me that views you. I don't even know what to say.
They're disgraceful. 100%.
It's a disgrace. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there's your history of apostate stuff.
So and that was so I wanted to just touch on my first apostate thing. I wanted to touch on my history of viewing apostate stuff, because I'm sure people in my family, our friends think that, we've just been looking at apostasy stuff for our, entire life.
Yeah.
No, that's not the way it works. No. And I wanted to make a very firm, clear response to the Jehovah's Witnesses that are in your comments and will inevitably be in the comments below here. So that was, once I wrapped up that appointment, I was driving home.
With the blood video
with the
still playing.
Lloyd Evans blood video still playing. The floodgates opened. Yeah. I started looking at everything. I started looking at as many videos that I could find on YouTube, Twitter, Reddit. It was like drinking through a fire hydrant. I was consuming it. And it was insane. It was like watching, it was equal parts like so sad and painful, but also like, okay, maybe it wasn't me all this time.
Yeah, there was something.
Because I had carried a lifetime of guilt. Maybe it wasn't me. Yeah. Maybe I was cognitively fighting this stuff and cognitively knew that this was all a farce. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's just good for me to touch on some of the big points in my fully waking up.
Yeah, let's talk about those.
So, okay, thanks, Barbara Walters. It's funny, I went from like barely being able to speak at the beginning of this to now I'm taking the lead. Yeah. Just like a proper head of a...
Do I need to wear my head covering?
Yes. So, I'm going to say the same things you've all heard and dealt with. The Australian Royal Commission. For me, it was unquestionably disgusting and despicable what my treasured religion and the leaders of something I carried so close to my heart let these babies go through. It's disgusting. Mm-hmm. And the fact, we all understand that we're in an imperfect world.
Yes.
Every organization is going to deal with something like this because there are sick, disgusting people in this world that deserve nothing but things I can't say.
Yes.
These people deserve the worst. And we were a part of the one true religion. So I would have thought, yes, the one true religion is probably still going to deal with this because we are surrounded by evil. Yes. We are in Satan's world. Mm-hmm. But what should have made the one true religion different is the way they reacted to it. Yep. And the way they reacted to it was just like every other religion. The Catholics being, the big one that they always crapped on.
Yep.
They acted just like the Catholics did.
Yep.
So you've got these Jehovah's most innocent, weak sheep that need the most protection being basically slapped in the face.
Yeah.
And the predators being prioritized.
Yeah.
So, of course, that was a huge part of it. But one of the key things for me is I remember being in elementary school and remembering how much it sucked around birthdays, around Christmas, around holidays, to have to go through that pain of standing up for Jehovah.
Being different,
sitting in the hallway, going and sitting in the library, standing up in front of your class and leaving when there was a birthday party or something like that. It was painful. And any of you former witnesses that have gone through it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, it's hard for me to talk about this. I was supposed to send my daughter into that same fiery pit that I knew what it was like. And I was supposed to tell her, you stand there, it's going to suck, it's going to hurt, it's going to be miserable. But Jesus did it for us. He stood there while people slapped him and spit on him and beat him. All he's asking us to do is these very small things. You're not in danger when you have to go outside because there's a birthday party, or there's a holiday party, or you feel bad about eating the cupcake. Your life's not in danger. So these things are very minimal, but to a little kid, they might as well be on that torture stake.
Yeah, it's a big
with
deal.
Jesus. It is a big deal. So I always have to send this beautiful, beautiful, precious little baby into this world, knowing exactly what she was going to go through, and be her backbone, and be her support, and be her dad, and make sure that, yes, she's going to go through it, but I'm going to be right there the second she gets home to pick her up and build her up and build up her esteem and make sure she knows Jehovah's proud of her and her parents are proud of her and her grandparents are proud of her and she did the right thing. But then I watched this son of a bitch. Stand up in front of men. He is one of 8 leaders of this religion. Stand up in front of a courtroom, and he is asked straight to his face, do you view yourselves as the leaders of this religion?
Spokespeople for God.
Do you believe that you are spokespeople for God, or God's only spokespeople? Something to that effect. And he had the opportunity to witness to them like no one has ever done before. He could have said, without question, yes. Because that's what I would expect my daughter to say. That's what I was going to be having to teach my daughter to say. You don't celebrate Christmas, Gracie? There was no beating around the bush. We were going to train her to go, yes, I don't believe in Christmas, and here's why. Let me show you in the Bible. The man had every opportunity to do that, and he caved.
He was a spineless coward.
He caved. He caved like a weak folding chair under his big fat. Yeah. He caved. So that was the ARC for me. That's what really got to me. These poor little freaking innocent children. And then the dynamic of my daughter having to go through things that this man can't even stand up. I can't tell her. I can't show her that video and be like, look what one of the governing body did. Look, he's gone through things like you too.
Yeah.
And he still stood up for Jehovah. So that was it. Norway was going on while, my faith was just falling apart. And it was like, why governing body, do you care about the couple $1 million that are at stake every year? You are, instead of standing on business about the disfellowshipping policy and saying, yes, we do disfellowship people, and we're going to keep doing it.
It's in the Bible.
It's in the Bible.
Show them.
I'm going to open my Bible and show you where it is. It is, we believe that it is biblical. This is why we do it, and we're not going to stop doing it. So you're threatening us to take money? You can have it.
Okay, Tony Morris 2.0.
Yeah.
It's exactly.
You can have the money.
Yeah.
You can. We don't care about it. If that money was so important, have a talk about donations. You would have had 100x times that come in. Yeah. If you would have stood on business and shown your followers, we're being persecuted in Norway, just like what Tony Morris did. Mm-hmm. We're being persecuted. It is hitting our pocketbook. We're not going to ask you for donations, but we just want you to be aware of it. And if in your prayers and you feel like giving more, this will help offset these losses. But I know that money was a drop in the bucket. It meant nothing. This was all about publicity.
Yeah.
This was all about the optics. So
they're a bunch of prideful men.
Yep. It was beautiful watching Norway play out. It's beautiful still watching it play out. We got a long road to go with that. Shout out to all the badass people over in Norway fighting that fight. We over here in the States are cheering for you. you may lose, XJWs may lose this battle, but you won the war. And the war was won as proof by people like us
Who left? Whose eyes were opened.
Yep.
Well.
So, Norway, that we got through that. I would say the final death blow, because I still in my mind was like, this is the truth, or this is still God's organization.
It's being run by
run by imperfect men.
How many times have we heard that one?
A million times. Then I flipped open jw.org app for something. I can't remember what it was. And I was greeted by a terms of service thing that you get on any app that you have. I didn't think much of it, but I just kind of was scrolling through it. I was like, I've never seen this before. Scrolling through it, it's all just like boilerplate stuff. And I get to a section about medical advice. Maybe you can insert a clip of this.
Yeah, it's on their website too.
It basically said that nothing in this website is supposed to be taken
as medical
advice. And I already didn't believe the blood issue, or the blood doctrine. I still, though, believed that Jehovah was in charge of this religion in some way. That was the final crack. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Yes, it is medical advice. Yes, it is medical advice. You tell us not to take blood.
That's advice.
If I told you, if I told you not to take shots in the arm, but only take them in your leg, I'm giving you medical advice. If I tell you not to take, I don't know, if I say don't take this drug or this drug, that's medical advice. Again, they couldn't just stand on business and say, we don't believe in blood.
Yeah.
What comes of that comes of that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that was just the absolute death blow. I was completely mentally out after that, seeing that. I remember I even sent you, because you were still very much so in. You were still taking the kids to meeting. I wasn't going.
Yeah, I think that was right before we had our conversation.
Yep. I remember I sent you a screenshot of that, and I said, again, I knew you were on the same page as me about the blood doctrine, but I think, you were still very much so a part of it. You hadn't seen anything that I had seen.
Yeah.
I sent you a screenshot of that, and I said, I just want you to read through this and look at it from a, completely non-JW frame of mind.
Yeah.
And you did. You were nice about it. You said, I'll take a look at it. And it kind of ended there. A month after that, I'm sitting in a Chipotle. In between appointments again.
I don't remember this one, but go ahead.
I probably never told you. Sitting in a Chipotle, eating my lunch in between appointments, and checking Reddit, and Anthony Morris has been removed. And I'm like, there's no way. This has to be a joke. Go on to jw.org, and lo and behold, there's the announcement.
Yeah.
Tony Morris is no longer one of the governing body. And that was so eye-opening, because you had everything that was going on in Norway, and he was very clear, we will not budge on this stance.
Yep.
Then he gets removed.
Yep.
Then all of these changes start taking place. Disfellowshipping is now called removed. All of these other changes start to take place, and it was like, I was right. Mm-hmm. It was vindicating.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm not the problem. I'm just in a false religion.
Well, and the funny thing about the Anthony Morris thing was it was like on their website for I don't even think a full day.
Yeah, and they deleted it.
And then it was gone.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think I was awake. That we had already had our conversation.
Yeah, I think that...
Because we were around some JWs and someone brought it up and everyone was like, what?
Yeah, we think he's just sick. And me and Alissa are like...
We're like, we've never...
He did what?
Wow, that's crazy.
Tony who?
We had to pretend like we had no idea what was going on when we're a part of the Apostate Reddit now. That was, I think, the beginning of 2023 when that happened. And then shortly after that, we had a circuit assembly we tried to go to.
Yep, and
we were both awake, but we were trying to just appease people to like get them off our backs. We were not going to meetings at that point.
Yep.
So we went to the circuit assembly. Tell us what happened.
Had a full-on panic attack, and I have never dealt with panic attacks a day in my life outside of, being nervous to give a talk or being nervous about an appointment. It would come and go, and I'd be fine. I was sitting in that assembly hall just shaking. And I think a big part of it, there was a special Bethel speaker who was in the service department. And, he announced who he was. And, I work in the service department. And here I am looking at this man who is just grinning from ear to ear, as jovial and, just that classic smooth talking JW brother. And I'm looking at him going, you know the sickest, most disgusting things about this religion, and you're standing up there with this big eating grin on your face. You're disgusting. It affected me physically and mentally. And I remember I texted you and I was like, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, so we left before lunch even started.
Yeah, we left before lunch.
Yeah.
And
we did not go back. Okay.
So I just want to talk real quick about the night that you came to me.
Yeah.
It was very visible that I wasn't budging.
Yeah. I've mentioned this a few times in my stories I've told. I was trying to get us back to in-person meetings because I was noticing a shift in him. Just like personality-wise, he seemed off. Mm-hmm. And so when I would get ready to go to a meeting, he would get busy doing busy work or cleaning the yard or whatever. And it was after like only 2 or 3 times of me attempting this with 2 kids. I sat him down and asked him what was going on. I asked him if he had a guilty conscience, if we need to call the elders, and tell us your side. I've told my side like multiple times.
So finally, I was like, I'm just going to because I'd still been hiding all of this from you.
That was December 2020.
Yeah. And this entire time before this, all I was doing was playing in my head like, how am I going to handle this? Because I can't unsee what I've seen. And I love you and my babies more than anything in this world. And I will not lose them. Yeah. But I know the trope of the unbelieving husband. I know how people talk about unbelieving mates. I know how they view unbelieving mates. I know how the kids of unbelieving mates view their own parent. Yeah. I've been around these situations my entire life. And I was like, I mentally could not be that. And so that's why I never came to you about it, is because I didn't want that to become a reality. And there was a part of me that was just like, I'll just have to fake this. I'll just have to get through this part and maybe start going back to meetings. But I literally could not unsee it. So, you came to me that day, that evening, whenever it was. And you were like, what is going on? You're not going to meetings. You're not praying with the kids. What is going on? And I was just like, you know what? I'm done lying. I've lied about things all my life. I remember there was a certain point in my life where I was like, this was way, way long time ago. I was like, I'm done lying. All I've done in my life is lied about things. I'm not lying anymore. So I was like, I laid it all on the table for you. I didn't give you like everything, but I talked about Norway.
You talked about
ARC.
You talked about the food boxes.
The food boxes. Oh,
I have the information on my video about that.
Yeah, you go watch her video for more detail. But I gave her, the Cliff Notes version of where I was at. And to your credit, I could tell you were scared as hell. Yeah. I could see it in your eyes. You were just like, who is talking to me? Yeah. But
I said that in my video. I'm like, oh my God, Satan has my husband. I have demons in my house. And I could see that.
But at the same time, you digested it all. You were very respectful to me. You were very loving. The next day, I think you texted me and said, I love you so much. I'm never, because I think I voiced my fears of losing you guys.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm never going to leave you. Me and the kids love you. You don't ever have to worry about that. And that was just so, it put me at so much ease. And then thankfully, you know, that was it between us. I never wanted to be the person that was like, oh, well, you need to look at this and you need to look at that. And here's this and here's that. And oh, did you hear about this?
No, he dropped it. He didn't bring it up. I did, though.
Yes.
It didn't take me long from that point to wake up. It didn't take you long. You know, I was on this journey for like a good year, maybe a year and a half. You were on it for like... I think 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Even that.
But I remember the day that you came down and you were telling me, like, I researched, I read the arc,
yeah.
And I was like, hallelujah. I was very chill and calm in the moment, but inside I was like, she was rejoicing. I was screaming because you can't look at that stuff, especially someone like you who just has a heart of gold and, you know, a love, an unbelievable love for your children, and you're an empathetic person, and I know that if you saw that and you put yourself in the mothers of those babies situation, it'd rip your heart right out of your chest.
Yeah.
Just the compassion that you would feel, and it did.
Yeah. And
that's, you know, obviously her story, you've probably all seen it.
I was okay, we're done.
Yeah, so,
it's not the truth. We're done.
So this is something that I wanted to clear up. So now, you know, I think we had, you know, the honeymoon phase of our marriage.
Oh, it's like what we talked about. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
then we had the phase of our marriage where you were waking up. That was the best, second to the honeymoon phase. That was... Our marriage was a different level. Mm-hmm. We've always had a strong marriage. We've always been very close. We've always relied on each other. Mm-hmm. But that, I felt like we were able to talk for the first time.
Yes, very openly.
Very openly. That was an amazing point of our marriage.
Yeah.
So I absolutely loved that time.
It was fun.
It was fun.
We talked so much trash about the organization. Did you see that on Reddit?
Yeah. But, I mean, we were able to have real conversations. Yeah. It wasn't like, you know, we had a conversation. Because every Jehovah's Witness conversation has to tie back to the organization in some way.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I went out and did this and this, you know, today. Or I saw this at work today. It reminded me of how just amazing Jehovah is.
Yeah.
And there is a place for that. I think
totally.
that there is definitely a place for that. But with witnesses, every single solitary conversation circles right back to Jehovah.
Yeah.
They cannot, and again, people in the comments, you'll see this, I'm sure. You can't just have a conversation with a Jehovah's Witness, a normal conversation.
No, absolutely not. Everything has to be linked in some way, shape, or form to the organization and Jehovah.
Yep.
Because, again, you're not supposed to think for yourself. Yep. So, that's why.
So, we were both fully checked out. The very last thing we ever went to was the memorial on April of 2023.
Yep.
We were both... all day, just like, are we going? Are we not going? Are we going? Are we not going? Nervous.
I texted multiple times. I feel like I'm getting sick. I don't think we should go.
You know, just pit in our stomach the entire day. And finally, at the end of the day, I was like, let's just go. We're going to have to field, you know, so many questions. If we just go to this memorial, it will buy us an entire year of not having to deal with this. Okay. Let's just go. So we get all dressed up. We go to the memorial.
We got there late. We got there we got there as the song was going.
Yeah. So we get there, you know, we get seated. Didn't want a small talk. We get seated. We get through the memorial. It's, you know, extremely tough to get through that. No,
but be honest. He had his meltdown his panic attack at the circuit assembly. So this for him was just like, you were literally inside rejoicing almost because you knew this was kind of like the end.
It didn't hit me till afterward.
Okay, well, I was having full on panic attack.
Yeah.
Like, I was miserable. I felt uncomfortable. I couldn't even look people in the face. Yeah. It was miserable.
we get, we get through the whole song and dance of talking with people afterward and shaking hands, kissing babies and things like that. And elders are trying to like corner me and talk to me, and I'm having to like, kind of brush them off a little bit because I did not want to get in a conversation about, where I've been or can we have a meeting with you or anything like that. We get in the car, and it was such a relief for me because I was so worried. I remember what I felt like at the circuit assembly, and I was just a ball of nerves and anxiety and something I'd never felt before. We get in the car, and I am like, I did it. I did it. I didn't feel a thing for these people. I love them still, but I didn't feel that like yo-yo back where it's like, you all probably know what I'm talking about, where you're down spiritually, you attend a meeting or an assembly or a convention, and you kind of yo-yo back to the organization. You get that spiritual shot of dopamine. I didn't feel an ounce of that, and it's the first time I didn't feel that in my entire life.
Yeah.
Because anytime I was ever feeling low spiritually, a meeting would always pull me out of it. I'd feel that emotion just running up and down my spine. I got in the car, and I can remember just being like, yes! I would literally like hitting the steering wheel, just like, I did it! I was so proud of myself. And you're over there just like,
I started crying. I was crying. So like, that's the last time we're going to see these people. Like, I just knew I was never going to see those people again.
Yep.
Ever.
Yep.
So I had an emotional breakdown that night.
So we were on like opposite ends of the spectrum emotionally. So we talked about the last memorial that we were at.
The Last Supper.
The Last Supper.
The Last Supper for us.
So between that memorial and the day that we disassociated was 3 months. For 3 months, we went back and forth about how do we do this? How do we leave this religion with as little damage as possible?
Yeah, while protecting our kids first and foremost.
Yes. The outcome was either me and Alissa, take the brunt of the emotional, damage. Our kids, number two, our kids take the brunt of the damage, or our friends and family take the brunt of the damage. And there was not an ounce of me that was going to let those little kids take it. So it was like between either us or our parents. So we are going back and forth every day. Should we disassociate? Should we fade away? Should we move out of the state? Should we just switch halls and just not ever go to a meeting again? We played every scenario out in our mind. For months. Literally 3 months of going back and forth. And finally, I think we both came to the conclusion that disassociating was the only way to truly get a fresh start. Yeah. And part of that was, I don't want to get into too much detail about it, but there was people in our area that went through the similar path as we did.
With kids. And we just watched how people talked about them and how people treated them. And it was very much so just like... They faded. They faded away. It was very much so like, oh, they're just weak. They'll be back. Yep. They just need encouragement. They were like, we knew that they were celebrating holidays, but their families really didn't. It was this weird gray area. And all I could see was that, I didn't see this, I'm just saying, I was playing this in my head. Like if we had done that. Yeah, like the kids are going to be the ones that take the brunt of the damage of this, because we're going to have to tell our kids, hey, we're going to celebrate Christmas or we're going to celebrate your birthday, but you can't tell your grandparents about this. And so then I'm playing these situations in my head. I've determined with myself a long time ago, I don't want to be a liar, known as a liar anymore. So I don't want my kids to grow up like that. I don't want my kids to see, okay, well, it's okay to lie
in some scenarios, but in other scenarios, it's not okay to lie. And that's how I grew up. It was like there were some things that were okay in certain situations, but in another situation, those things, and it was just so mentally jarring and confusing. So
our two options were, do we fade and we deal with feeling everything, and like, I mean, I don't even know how that would have gone with our kids. Like, we're both very honest people. Yeah. And like he said, we did not want our kids to learn to lie or hide stuff to avoid hurting their grandparents or their aunts and uncles.
Because there would come a time when they get into a situation like I was in when I was around 13, 14, 15, and I get in a situation where I'm like, or they get in a situation like that, and they go, okay, well, I'm just going to lie to my parents.
Yeah, they're lying to their parents, so I'm going to lie to my parents.
I've lied to my grandparents my entire life. I'll just lie to my parents because this is learned behavior. And I know our kids are going to do stuff that they're not supposed to, and they're going to lie to us, and they're going to do stuff that's bad, and they're going to make mistakes. But these kind of, I don't even know what you would call it, but it's like a character trait.
That gets ingrained in you.
Yes, that you see. It's okay to lie to someone, but not to others. When would we be added to the list of it's okay to lie to these people?
Yep.
So it was, I think you had your situation with your parents, which again, you can go watch it in her video. Mm-hmm. But it kind of became clear that we weren't going to be able to just fade.
No.
And there was a part of me too that was like, I was raised my entire life to stand up for the truth, to stand up for what I believed. And this was my time to do it.
I genuinely don't think we wanted to fade. I think we knew our only... To be true to ourselves, the only thing we could do would be disassociate.
Yeah. We made all of these decisions for our children. Mm-hmm. We made these decisions for the betterment of our children. And we, as their parents, should be allowed to do that. We have so many people shunning us, our entire families shunning us, because we made a decision for our children to not be a part of a religion that we proved to ourselves was man-made. We did this for our children, and we are getting shunned for trying to make a good decision and protect our children. And we have every right to do that. Every right to do that. But it's being done to us because there are 12 men in New York that are telling our parents, you can't talk to your kids because they left your religion.
Mm-hmm. You can't talk to your grandkids.
You can't talk to your grandkids.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Okay, so July 23, officially disassociated.
So now I want to talk a little bit about when I started making calls to people.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we had decided we were going to disassociate. Yeah. There was a handful of people that I wanted to tell personally. And so I made those calls, and there were some brothers that actually called me once, they found out. There was a few elders in our hall that found out about this, that, made calls to me. All very loving, very upbuilding call, or not upbuilding, but very loving calls. They would ask me, why are you doing this? What do you do? What's going on? And I was firm in myself, just like I did with you. I'm not going to put this on anyone that does not want to hear it. Mm-hmm. If you come to this YouTube channel and watch this video, that's on you. I'm not going to call up somebody and tell them their religion is wrong, because I think it's disrespectful. And I was hoping that the respect I was giving these men and my family of not like blowing up their ear with all the stuff that I learned.
Do you know this and that and everything?
Was going to be returned to me with them going, okay, Lance isn't evil. We've known him our entire life.
He's not crazy.
He's not crazy. He's not trying to, get us out of the religion. Let's still talk to him. And my family, I knew your family was going to be hard shunned for sure, because, your family is the JW family to a T. They're the ones that are written about in the articles and things like that.
Yeah.
I thought my family was going to be different because my family has always lived in the gray area. Mm-hmm. My family, I talked earlier, I was allowed to go to college. I've always been allowed to kind of, just do things that other witnesses may not have been allowed to do. Mm-hmm. So, I thought, there was certain behavior patterns. I don't want to get too deep into it. But as we were, coming through our marriage and as I was getting into my late 20s and early 30s, I was starting to see things that they were doing that wasn't quite what the organization... Mm-hmm. There was just a lot of living in the gray area.
Yep.
And I never saw that from your family.
Never.
So I knew that was the door was shut there. Mm-hmm. I thought for sure, I really thought that my parents would live in that gray area, once we left.
Yeah.
And boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get into it. I was going to talk about it because I feel like extreme actions such as shunning deserve extreme consequences, but I'm going to be the bigger person and not talk about that stuff. But I will leave it at, I really thought that because there was always my family living in that gray area about a lot of different things, mm-hmm. serious things, JW wise, that I would have been granted
that gray area,
that grace in that gray area as we were leaving. And again, I was trying to be respectful to everyone. Mm-hmm. So I had my conversations with everyone, and it was weird because I thought, what we were doing was like, I thought it was the unforgivable sin.
Yeah.
But every single elder that I talked to was like,
you can come back.
You can come back if you change your mind. You can come back if you want to, just take some time to think about all this. And I was really surprised by that. And a lot of them were like, oh, I've had my doubts too. I've thought that this was, I've just had my doubts too. And I was like, in the back of my head thinking, there's a difference between, having doubts and seeing the things that I've seen.
Well, having doubts and actually researching.
Yes.
As opposed to having doubts.
You may have thought, oh, this might be man-made, and then, put that on the shelf.
Yeah.
But once you dig into those doubts and you see everything, you can't unsee it.
No.
So we officially, our announcement got made actually two years ago today. And then the last thing I want to talk about was just how things, and you touched on this as well, but I want to talk about it. We did not want to take our kids from their grandparents. We understood and respected the way our parents were potentially going to treat us, but we figured that they would have enough respect and love for us to where we could still coexist even just for the kids. So I reached back out to my parents and I think your dad like a few weeks afterward and said, hey, it was a month afterward. I reached out and said, hey, here's just kind of the groundwork for, or, the rules of engagement for us meeting, you meeting up with the kids. I'm telling them, I'm saying this with the utmost respect. I just want these few rules followed. No talking about the organization, no talking about, different families in the hall, trying to get them riled up about that. I can't remember some of the other stuff I said.
It was about also like, you can shun us any other time, just not in front of the children.
Yeah. Just
also one of us has to be present at all times. Just
and that's I wanted us present. And again, we made these decisions as a couple. Mm-hmm. I wanted them to know, like, I don't want you, because the way JW grandparents are when there is an unbelieving child and they have children, is the grandparents almost view the grandchildren as their studies and their children. Now it's their grandparents' job to raise those kids up in the truth. And I wasn't going to let that happen. I still wanted my kids to learn things from their grandparents and be around them and, you know, just have that still.
Have a relationship. So
I just had these rules, you know, that I wanted them to abide by. And I didn't feel like any of that was uncalled for in any way, shape, or form. So they agreed to this. They meet up with you and the kids, and it's like very clear that these rules are not going to be followed. No. They treated her like crap, you know, ignoring her. Again, all this stuff is in her video, so go watch it if you haven't. You know, it was just very clear every time she came back from one of those visits that it was taking a massive hit on your mental health. Mm-hmm. So I sat down with you and I'm like, who are we doing this for? Are we doing this for us or are we doing this for them? Yeah. And it was like, we're doing this for them. Yeah. Why are we doing this for them if they're going to continue to treat you like crap? Yeah. I reached out to the dads, your dad and my dad, and was basically just like, hey, we are going to forego this for a little bit. Yep. We just need some time, and hopefully you guys can take some time to kind of figure out where you're at with all this. And not a single word has been said to us since. So when we were making these calls that we were going to disassociate, or when I was, okay, of course, I called my parents and laid everything out for them. Again, you know, I gave them a little bit more information. I talked to them about the blood doctrine, but that was really it. You know, they listened to me. Of course, you know, they can only listen so much and they can only say certain things. But that was it. You know, if this would have been my kids and I would have thought, you know, their spiritual life was over, they're dead.
Yeah, their life is on the line.
Their kids' lives, my grandkids' lives are on the line. I would have stopped at nothing to understand why. You know, I would have stopped at nothing to understand. Tell me everything that is on your mind. I've got the Bible and I've got jw.org ready. We're going to go item by item. I want you to tell me every single solitary thing that you've learned, you've found out. I don't care if it's apostate. I don't care if it's this or that. You tell me everything, and I'm going to prove you wrong because I have the truth. I have the Bible and I have jw.org ready. Let's do it. Nope. Everyone disappeared. Yep. Just like that. Yep. Now let's just talk about real quick about the family dynamic. If I know the love that I have for my children, the love that I have for my children also comes with the responsibility of being a parent. So I have to deal with the stress and the love. So I have to deal with the good and the bad every day of raising these kids. Every day. And it's, you know, worth every second of it. I can't imagine what it's going to be like to be a grandparent when not only do I get to see mini versions of our kids, yes, like a little mini version of Gracie or a little mini version of Brooks, because we've lost that. Not we've lost it, but we're past that.
I mean, they grow so fast.
They've grown up, so that it was done and over with like that. But the extra layer of being a grandparent is that you have all the good. Yes, you do deal with some of the bad, but it's all the good. Mm-hmm. You're not raising them. You're not disciplining them. You're not doing, making sure waking up in the middle of the night. It's all positive. It's all good. Yeah. For the life of me, after having had kids, don't know how our parents are doing this.
I have no idea either.
I don't know how on earth my son, every one of my family members has said my son looks like the spitting image of me as a child. If he has a son, or if Gracie has a son that looks identical to me, or, you know, looks like, I don't know how I could turn my back on that person.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like me, guys, even if you think what we did is wrong, you can't just fake it for a freaking hour.
Yeah.
You can't fake it just for a little bit. We told you we're not going to talk about, I laid out those guidelines, but I also said, I'm not going to try to influence you.
Yeah, we respect
I
them.
respect that you have this religion. I will cheer you on for it. I'm not going to do what you think a crazy, nasty apostate is going to be doing.
Yeah.
But no, they have drawn a massive line in the sand.
Yeah.
And I think a part of it is because we speak out.
Yeah.
But
we didn't speak out until it was very obvious that there was no potential of anything.
And that was a big reason that we started to speak out, is because we saw, well, if I'm not going to have my family, why am I staying quiet?
Yeah.
You know, am I still trying to please my family by not talking to people? And there are so many people that helped me and you on our journeys throughout this. I'm not going to name off everybody, but everybody on YouTube, everybody on Twitter, everybody on Reddit. You know, there are, you know all the names that I would list out. Yeah. All those guys and girls were a huge part of us waking up and them telling their stories, and even just the people that were the one-off videos.
Yeah.
They make one video, here's why I left the Jehovah's Witness religion, and they never made another video ever again. I watched every single one of those, and it was so upbuilding just to know that I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
And just to know that we could do that for somebody else. Mm-hmm. That's why we do it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, towards the beginning of this, if our parents would have called and said, we will still be in your lives, but you have to shut down all the apostate talk, we would have done it like that. We would have done it in a heartbeat. So our parents could have taken out some very vocal apostates with just one word.
Well, just being
just a tiny bit
parents, being loving.
A tiny bit of kindness. And we would have never said anything.
Yeah.
So
lucky for everybody watching this that didn't happen. So you're welcome.
So that's it.
That's the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you know where Lance was during this whole process. Again, I've done my story. I've talked about my side of things. I thought it was very important for him to also tell his side of things.
Yep.
And now we're 2 years into being out and living in the real world.
Yep.
Giving our kids a normal life.
There's been highs and there's been lows. There's been great things. There's been it's just been normal life. You know, we were told that if we left, our lives would fall apart and our marriage would fall apart. That has not happened. That does not mean we are not immune to bad things happening to us. And the sad thing is, I know our parents. I don't know. I would guess our parents are just waiting.
They want something bad.
They want something bad to happen
because it brings people back. Because
that could be the first step in us coming back to the religion, and that is just a heartbreaking thing to think about.
Yeah.
So, that's really it.
That's the story. Do you have any closing statements?
No. Do I get to cheers?
Oh yeah. So. Lance is going to give his... here's my water, too. I don't really have much.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Let me kind of finish this up. So, thank you guys for sitting through this. I know it was a long one. Now you know who's the talker. Just kidding. I'm kidding. I talk just as much. This is just his story. That's why I'm not talking as much. But, this is... leaving is messy. It's heavy. Life as a JW is heavy. Growing up JW is heavy. I know there's a lot of different topics discussed and a lot of hard things probably to listen to and sit through, but I appreciate you giving him the space to tell his story. Thank you for coming on and telling your story.
Thank you for giving me space.
We'll finish this out like I'm finishing out all of my interviews. So I need you to give me your best, either apostate toast or JW toast. Pretend you're a JW toasting for the first time, whatever you want to do.
Okay. So I've got two.
Okay.
Toasts that I want to do.
Okay.
Okay. I've thought about these long and hard.
Okay.
So my first toast is going to be to the governing body. You had the option to really, once you saw the writing on the wall after COVID and no one was coming, attendance was way down, service hours were way down, you had the opportunity to double down in this religion, but you chose to go the route of changing the religion to try to appease the masses, to try to make this a more mainstream in religion. And in doing so, you are slowly alienating people and waking people up. The beards thing, the changing in the disfellowshipping, while yes, it's good that some of these things are happening, you are just proving that this is a man-made religion, and I cannot thank you enough. So cheers to you for doing that, and cheers to Tony Morris. I miss him greatly. The second cheers that I want to do is to you. You are my rock, and I love you more than anything in this world, and you are the most amazing wife. Battery died.
Okay.
I was saying, I'm cheersing you. You have so much courage and so much strength being able to get onto this camera, something that I could never do, or it's taken me a long time to even do this. Your strength and your power has been beautiful to watch. And it is very clear by the response that you've been getting that you are having a massive effect on people. And you are truly changing people's lives for the better and saving people from this destructive religion. And I can't say how much I am proud of you and how I just look at you in such a different... I never got to see this side of you as a Jehovah's Witness. You were always supposed to be the meek wife, and I'm just so proud of you. And I love you.
Love you too.
Cheers.
Cheers. He made me cry, guys. I'm going to sue him for emotional damage. Okay, everybody. We started with him crying. We're ending with me crying. Thank you guys for being a safe space. Thank you for sitting along with us and listening to the story. And next video I won't cry in. I've cried enough on YouTube. I've had too many tears in here. So thank you guys again. Yeah, I'm emotional now. Yeah, thanks for letting him tell his story.
Thank you guys for listening.
All right, see you guys next time.
Bye. Like and subscribe.